Started out with a dream. Now look at us. What's a vision if you ain't turning that vision to reality? All you haters can stay mad at me. From a kid to a man, from a man to a star. Bike to a minivan to a supercar. Lights, let me see those hands, show me who you are. Dice, watch him land, go and cop a new car. High stakes, heavyweight shit, came up from the bottom. Only flex flows if you got him. Problems came and forgot him. I'm on that stress-free shit. If I believe, then I can be it. And I aim to be a star. It don't matter who you are or where you come from. Had them wanting more after one song. Every morning I wake up and I'm on some. Put the beat on repeat and get the rhymes done. Started out fun, now it's my life. Married to the game, made rapping my wife. To have and to hold, through sickness and death. At least I'm at the point I can write my own checks. Hit the Royal Rumble, now I'm last man standing. Hard to stay humble when the punches keep landing. 1, 2, uppercut, hook. Learn from the best, can't do it by the book. I was born with the flow, guess it's in my genes. Material raw, but my rhymes stay clean. I don't sip lean, but I smoke a little green. Win some, lose some, stay true to the dream. From a kid to a man, from a man to a star. Bike to a minivan to a supercar. Lights, let me see those hands, show me who you are. Dice, watch him land, go and cop a new car. High stakes, heavyweight shit, came up from the bottom. Only flex flows if you got him. Problems came and forgot him. I'm on that stress-free shit. If I believe, then I can be it.
Yeah, I took my time and it paid off well. Rose back up when I fell. Yeah, got defeated, made me stronger. Cause I need it, I can't wait longer.
Yeah, time is up, clock's been ticking, it's crunch time. Walking the tightrope, but it's a long line. Gotta keep my balance, takes more than talent. If you drink by the liter, gotta sell by the gallon. From a kid to a man, from a man to a star. Bike to a minivan to a supercar. Lights, let me see those hands, show me who you are. Dice, watch him land, go and cop a new car. High stakes, heavyweight shit, came up from the bottom. Only flex flows if you got him. Problems came and forgot him. I'm on that stress-free shit. If I believe, then I can be it.
yeah. Ese bikini apretadito se te ve, cuerpo sudadito, dime, ¿tienes sed? Me tienes loquito desde que te mire, me tienes ansioso desde que te probé. Lo que sea que tengas, mami, te queda bien. La silueta se te marca 4K en HD. Ese booty grande que no lo vas a ver. Me tienes ansioso desde que te probé. Ansioso por repetir, por probarte y tenerte cerquita de mi mami otra vez. Estoy loco por secuestrarte, irnos a la disco y hacer todos los días que ya ves. Yo sé que te acuerdas, babe, no me digas que no. Sé que tú también quieres repetirlo. Quiero que se repita la ocasión, escucharte cantar toda mi canción. Ese bikini se te marca, resalta todos tus atributos. Te juro que a mí me hace falta quedarnos a solas un minuto. Ese bikini apretadito se te ve, cuerpo sudadito, dime, ¿tienes sed? Me tienes loquito desde que te mire, me tienes ansioso desde que te probé. Lo que sea que tengas, mami, te queda bien. La silueta se te marca 4K en HD. Ese booty grande que no lo vas a ver. Me tienes ansioso desde que te probé. Te juro que te queda bien. Tú combinas conmigo. Este es el máximo nivel y de eso yo soy testigo. Dime si nos vamos a ver en el mismo sitio escondido donde nos vimos la última vez. Yo quiero ser más que tu amigo. Ese bikini se te marca, resalta todos tus atributos. Te juro que a mí me hace falta quedarnos a solas un minuto. Ese bikini apretadito se te ve, cuerpo sudadito, dime, ¿tienes sed? Me tienes loquito desde que te mire, me tienes ansioso desde que te probé. Lo que sea que tengas, mami, te queda bien. La silueta se te marca 4K en HD. Ese booty grande que no lo vas a ver. Me tienes ansioso desde que te probé.
Watch it all unfold. Watch it all unfold. Desert days, summertime baby. Purple haze, sunshine lady. Pastel skies for miles, far as the eye could see. Isn't it crazy, this life? Watch it all unfold. Oh, this life. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, this life. Watch it all unfold. Oh, this life. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, this life. Stargazing, call me Scorsese. Living large, hoping that maybe stay here for a while, long as we're feeling free. Ooh, isn't it crazy, this life? Watch it all unfold. Oh, this life. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, this life. Watch it all unfold. Oh, this life. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, this life. Oh, this life. Oh, this life. Watch it all unfold. Watch it all unfold. watching, you will see. I can be a watcher, I can be killer bee. Oh, I could be a thriller who keeps living for the heat. Living for the heat. Living for the heat. Living for the heat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the KDL. I am State. Joined with me is Peter, and today we have 3 team matches in store for you. Peter, how you doing, man?
I am doing absolutely great. As you said, you know it's a Wednesday when you have 3 team matches, and so far we've had every single team play once. So we have very drastic results right now where some teams are 1-0 and some teams are without any wins. So today is that day for redemption.
Yeah, and we have a lot of matchups today with established teams facing off against these rookie teams that are coming in here to KDL Preseason 2, trying to show what they got. We had not really too many surprising results over the weekend there, the opening weekend here in Preseason 2, but today it might be another story for these rookie teams.
Yeah, the rookies are doing great so far in preseason, of course. As we go through Preseason 2, we have 8 teams here in the main stage, and they will be fighting for a spot to the postseason where the top 4 will be able to make it there. And of course, there's a nice hefty prize pool for the winner as well.
Yeah, 40 million Korean won for first place, just shy of 40,000 US dollars. So a lot of prize money on the line, even though we're only here in the preseason. And Aura, one of those teams that is competing here today in the second match, leading the pack right now, the first team to get a 6-0 win.
Yeah, really impressive stuff from Aura, and this is a team that's definitely stood out in Preseason 1 as well because they've pretty much exceeded everyone's expectations. And if they can continue that streak today and set more round wins as well as set wins, they're definitely going to be set for the postseason.
Yeah, Aura's seeming really strong, and Preseason 1, I was kind of looking at them as the best team in item mode. Yeah. That was a little bit lacking in speed, but as the preseason continued on, you just saw them continuously get better and get better. And although they don't have a big established sponsor just yet, this is one of those teams that I think they have a really good chance of taking it here in Preseason 2.
Yeah, and then on the other hand, we had 3 rookie teams sitting at 0-1 so far, and those 3 teams will be playing today against some really strong opponents. We have Seraphic versus GWANGDONGFREECS for match number 5, followed by ShowTime going up against the item mode giants that you mentioned, State, and Aura. And then for match 7, Potential versus Liiv SANDBOX, and Liiv SANDBOX, they're having a bit of a rough start to the season so far.
Yeah, match 7 should be really fun to watch. Liiv SANDBOX, I mean, of course, losing 2 of their star players to military service. They've had a retooled rekit here in KDL Preseason 2, and sometimes when you have these big upheavals in your roster, it takes a while for your team to really start to gel in a competitive setting. So we'll see what they're able to bring to the table here in KDL Preseason 2. I would be surprised if they didn't put it all together by the time we were done here with this preseason, but Potential, man, they've been living up to their name. In that first match on the opening weekend, they almost beat KWANGDONGFREECS, the reigning champions. 3-2 in speed, 2-3 in item, and then barely losing to World in the ace match. Just really phenomenal stuff overall.
I'm sure that surprised everyone. I don't think anyone would have expected Potential to be the team to push KWANGDONGFREECS to their limit, going all the way into the ace match. But of course, for our first match of the day, it is going to be Seraphic coming in. This is a team that has struggled so far, so today can hopefully be a redemption day.
Yeah, some familiar faces here on Seraphic with Binshik, Scarlet, Snoopy, formerly known as Reboots Pure, all joining this team, trying to band together to take it to these veteran teams and potentially, earn some prize money. And, maybe this is a team that if they can start to get the ball rolling, we might see them again once the KDL official season kicks off later this year.
Hopefully we do see that coming in from Seraphic, but going against them today is the reigning champion from Preseason 1, KWANGDONGFREECS, the only team where their roster has remained completely the same coming into Preseason 2, and this has to be one of the strongest teams for me right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, World, Cool, Spear, and Sungbin, just 4 of the best players in the world, and for good reason. They were speed masters in KDL Preseason 1, and there's a reason why when you ask them what role they play, World is a speed ace and everybody else is a runner, is because it feels like this team, the raw talent, especially in speed mode, is so high, and I feel like Seraphic, they really have their work cut out for them today here against the KWANGDONGFREECS.
You nailed it perfectly. When you ask the players, what's the scariest thing about KWANGDONGFREECS, they always say that team has everyone so good at doing ace matches. They're all capable, so far they've had World going 5-0 in the ace matches, and we'll see if Seraphic can take them there today.
Yeah, after a harsh debut match, Seraphic's growth drama begins as they're trying to establish themselves here in KDL Preseason 2. As we get a look at the positions here for all these players. Mari will be the runner, Promise, the sweeper, Minshik, the speed ace here on this team, formerly a runner for his previous team, and then rounding it out with Scarlet and Snoopy, the hybrid and item aces. And I mean, this hurts a little bit. We were crushed so bad. We practiced hard. We're here to learn a lesson. I mean, that happens when you get, just crushed in your first debut matches. You got to kind of reset, be like, all right, we practiced hard. It's the opening match. We'll come back. We'll do better.
I really respect the mindset for Seraphic here, because when you are in a competitive environment, it is really important to be able to look at yourself objectively and realize that sometimes, yes, you are the underdog, you're not the favorite, and hopefully they're able to find some of the advantages that come with that mindset. Whereas KWANGDONGFREECS, this is a team where you could say there's some pressure on them, because if they lose to an amateur team like Seraphic, it's going to look really bad on them.
Yeah, it would be a poor reflection on the Freaks' form, especially considering, their first match against another rookie team potential went the full distance, 5 maps in speed, 5 maps in item, and then they barely eked out the win in ace. And whatever they said, back on them. I think the Freaks were anticipating maybe a little bit of trash talk, but I mean, you could interpret this as also now the Freaks are kind of like, all right, well, we're also bad.
Yeah, that might be my favorite trash talk of all time. And of course, we got to see a glimpse of the coach of KWANGDONGFREECS there. I've seen this guy in their team documentaries, and he plays such a crucial role in the team dynamics. He's always there cheering for the players in the crowd, and we love seeing him.
Here we have the speed track list as we get ready to kick things off. KWANGDONGFREECS selecting Desert Construction Chaos here as track number 1, and then we go to one of the newer tracks, WKC Japan Circuit for track number 2, and then rounding things out with Boom Hill Tunnel, Winding Slopes, and Glacier Extreme Stadium.
I'm really excited for the Japan circuit because I've actually never been to Japan myself personally, so it's going to be like my little tour of what Japan would look like if I was there.
You haven't been? I'm actually surprised, man. It's right across the pond. It's so close.
Yeah, it is very close to Korea, so maybe I should visit there one day. The round 2 might convince me if I see some beautiful scenery.
I mean, well, the map design is so beautiful here in Kart Rider Drift. I mean, I just absolutely love it. These maps are gorgeous. You can see a lot of love, a lot of hard work went from the dev team and making these maps the best they can be as fans coming out here in droves as we're getting ready to start off match number 1 here today with Seraphic versus KWANGDONGFREECS. Can the rookies upset here on Desert Construction Chaos?
Let's go. We begin the race. The first round, the speed between KWANGDONGFREECS and Seraphic.
Yeah, should be a fun one, too. I mean, Seraphic, they really want to rebound after that brutal loss to Aura in their opening match here in KDL Preseason 2. But so far, pretty competitive here to start things out. Spear and Cool are leading the pack, but with 3, 4, 5 for Seraphic right behind them with Marley, Scarlet, and Minshik, there is some potential counterplay.
I do think this is pretty ideal of a start for KWANGDONGFREECS right now. Cool and Spear, they have been a pretty good 1-2 duo the last time we saw them over the weekend, and if they can keep this up, if Mari cannot find a way to pass Spear, which is one of the best sweepers for KWANGDONGFREECS as well, it's going to look really hard for Seraphic.
Oh yeah, Spear, I think it was actually on this same map over the weekend, had some phenomenal body blocking, some fantastic sweeping as you see him just kind of zoning out Mari and Scarlet right now. Mari trying to do everything in their power to gain ground, but really not able to get past the stone wall that is Spear.
You know it's a KWANGDONGFREECS domination when Spear doesn't even need to do much sweeping. Right now, Sungbin is just making sure to keep up the rear in case Spear wants to go for some of that sweep instead. This 1-2-4 formation has been unbroken so far.
Yeah, Cool and Spear still leading the charge right now as we get the shot here of World. Trying to close the distance to create more problems here for Seraphic in the middle of the pack. See, Mari does fall behind there as now Scarlet. Oh man, even Sungbin passed him, so it's 1-2-3 right now for Freaks.
Yeah, and you can see the pressure in Scarlet there. He's trying to take the tighter lines, but Sungbin, he's there to check him on every corner.
What a great body block right there. Scarlet losing so much momentum. Sungbin ricocheting off of him forward now, and for Seraphic here in track number 1, it's not looking good, Peter.
And we wanted to see them perform today after such a devastating loss against Aura last week, but so far, World is here to say no and block out 4 members of Seraphic alone.
Yeah, World just creating so many problems here for Seraphic in the back ranks right now as Minshik, he's trying to close the distance, but I mean, the distance between Spear and Cool is so vast. They are not going to be able to close it. KWANGDONGFREECS is going to be able to take track #1 here on Construction Chaos in convincing fashion.
Yeah, and it's a good thing for KWANGDONGFREECS because they did choose Desert Construction Chaos themselves. This is a rather difficult track, and I feel like a lot of our pro teams that are currently dominating KDL Preseason 2, they're not afraid of these harder tracks, and they prefer playing them even against these amateur teams.
Yeah, especially the Freaks. I mean, this is one of the most technically skilled teams, if not the most technically skilled team here in the KDL Preseason. And I mean, you see it right there with Cool and Spear. They were never contested at the front of the pack, and even Sungbin able to lead the charge and, you know, shore up the flank right behind him. It's a 1-2-3 finish here for the Freaks as Seraphic still are yet to put a track win on the board here in KDL Preseason 2.
Yeah, and the trend that I've noticed so far is that our players do tend to go with the burst cart body when they want to be in the front and being that runner position for the team. And it was Spear actually having that today while it was Minsik for the other side. And it felt like the whole time, Spear didn't even need to be a runner. He had such a versatile position because he knows Cool is leading right there, and Cool rarely gives up his lead. Where on the other hand, Minsik, he didn't really have much backup.
Yeah, not a lot of backup there for Minchik, and the Freaks are able to ride that one to a win as it looks like we're getting ready to go to track #2. Will KWANGDONGFREECS be able to continue the lead on Japan circuit? All right, here we go on WKC Japan circuit. One of the newer tracks here in KDL Preseason 2 is Spear off to a tremendous start. Leading the pack right now, Minchik right behind him. Everyone taking these tight lines to try and close the distance.
Once again, the Spear and Cool duo for KWANGDONGFREECS right now. Minsik does. However, he has that first place position, so as long as he holds it, it does buy time for the members of Seraphic to catch up. World, he's once again playing bottom of the pack to do some sweeping.
Yeah, we'll see if World is able to close the distance here a little bit as Minchik is able to supplant Spear just for a moment there in first place. Is, you know, it's almost like a game of hot potato. These players just continue to trade hands, but Seraphic, you know, to their credit, this is the best that they've looked so far here opening out. Right now holding on to positions 1 and 2, but it's so close. You see Cool taking that tight inner line, able to pull up all the way into second place, and man, the pack is so dense right now.
Everyone is trying to take the shortcuts and the same line, so it is resulting to a lot of body checks, but so far, now with Cool in the lead for KWANGDONGFREECS, they are looking pretty dominant right now. 1-2 in the back once again. Mari is all the way in the back, getting blocked out by Sungbin.
Yeah, World able to make his way all the way up into first place right now to help his teammate Cool kind of lead the charge here as Scarlet and Minchik doing their best to close the distance. We'll see if there's any sweeping coming in from Spear, who's been so good about it so far. Not just in KDL Preseason 1, but 2. And actually, it's Cool doing some body checks, creating problems here for Seraphic, and now KWANGDONGFREECS. It feels like they're starting to consolidate this 1-2 position.
Absolutely. Promise he's trying to do all he can, but you look at Spear, he's always coming into the path, making sure that whoever's coming up behind him cannot take it up.
Man, Cool is playing such a great 1v2, just made so many problems there for both Mari and Scarlet. Just an extended period of time. It's only really Promise here contesting the front pack as we're 500 meters away, Peter, from the finish line.
Promise, if he can keep up this lead right now along with Scarlet, that might be what Seraphic needs, but KWANGDONGFREECS, they have World in first place with Spear coming in fourth, and that is going to be enough.
Yeah, just by 1 point, 20-19, World coming in clutch with that first place finish. We'll give another win to the Freaks, but Seraphic looking a lot stronger here on Japan circuit, man. That was a close race.
Yeah, you mentioned at the beginning of the race that World was sitting all the way at the 8th place, but this guy, he knows how to recover really well. So he knows that when he's not needed as a sweeper anymore and rather securing the positions in the podium is more important. That's exactly what he does, and that first place is enough to give KWANGDONGFREECS a strong continuation of their momentum here.
Yeah, 2-0 lead now for the Freaks here in speed mode as they're only one track win away from sending us to item mode with a match win. So the pressure right now, it's on for Seraphic, man. 2 maps, excuse me. 2 maps already played here. They have to go all the way to map 5 here in speed mode against one of the best speed teams in Kartrider Drift if they're going to try and bring this one back. So we're getting ready to go to Village Boom Hill Tunnel. KWANGDONGFREECS looking so strong right now. Let's see if they can keep up this momentum.
This is match point for Guangdong Freaks if they're able to seal the deal. They're definitely looking for that 3-0 after a disappointing performance last weekend.
Yeah, a lot of small drifts here, trying to build up that meter as fast as possible as the Freaks are off to a really good start. It's going to be Spear and World at the top 2 positions here for the Freaks, as Cool and Sungbin going to try and do some sweeping there on the flank. For Seraphic right now, Scarlet and Promise, they're going to try and take the helm here, as really the story for the Freaks so far these first 2 tracks has been them getting that first and second place position and not giving it up. And Seraphic, they really want to throw a wrench into the machine that is the Freaks and try and disrupt that game plan.
I was a bit worried seeing Minta got the back for Seraphic, but it seems like Scarlet, Promise, and Mari, they do have a pretty firm control. I was about to say in the 2-3-4, it's going back and forth everywhere right now.
Yeah, it's very close here in the 2-3-4 spots as these positions just continuing to trade hands. We have a little bit of a 1v1 as well, with both Spear and Scarlet taking that tight inner line, actually going up on the curb if I'm not mistaken there for a moment, as Scarlet's going to try and take this tight inner to close the distance a little bit. Promise right behind him.
Right now, it's all up to Scarlet to try to take that first place away from Spear, because that's going to give them a huge point advantage. Now it's Sungbin coming up, and Promise is going to fall behind.
Yeah, that is disastrous there for Seraphic, as the 1-2 finish here for the Freaks will solidify the sweep here in speed mode. Seraphic still yet to put a track win on the board, as the Kwangdong Freaks, they showed a little bit of mortality in their opening match against Potential, but here against Seraphic, just as dominant as ever. Clean 3-0 sweep.
Guangdong Freaks delivering, they said whatever they said, right? And the point of that was about how Seraphic suffered a really devastating loss and their morals are potentially a bit down right now. And it seems like beginning this week on day number 3, things are not looking better for Seraphic.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, coming up here against the Freaks, especially in your second match after a rough debut, it's just salt in the wound here for Seraphic, but we'll see if they can come back here in item mode. They will be doing a little bit of position reversal, as they will bring out Snoopy, their item ace, to try and shore up, do some play calling here in item mode. And the Freaks, one of those few teams, I think actually the only team here in KDL Preseason 2 running a 4-man roster.
Yep.
They're gonna have to rely on the same 4 players. No item ace here for the Freaks, so Seraphic, if they're going to come in with a comeback, it's going to start right here, right now in item mode.
Hopefully Snoopy's able to prove himself, because I feel like a lot of the pressure is on these item aces because they're only here in the item mode to perform. And sometimes if your team does not do well in item mode overall, you have to wonder, is having this item ace position really worth it? Because a team, like you said, State, Guangdong Freaks, they're not running that item ace and they're doing just fine, breezing by as the champions.
Yeah, but I mean, the raw skill that they have as a team, it's hard to match for any other roster, right? So it makes sense that they want to stick with the same 4-man squad. So we got to look here at the item track list. Seraphic will be choosing Desert Sphinx's Riddle here as track number 1, followed by Village Town Hall, Pharaoh's Pass, Brody's Gloom, and Cogwheel Crush. Some fun maps there to close things out. I hope this one goes to a set 4 or a set 5. I would love to see some wins here out of Seraphic and go back to the factory, man. I've been missing it.
Yeah, I also like the factory tracks as well. I see that Guangdong Freaks banned out London Night because I do feel like London Night is one of those tracks that are much easier to secure a win in, even as an amateur team. So I like that they place more emphasis on going for the harder tracks where there will be less volatility.
Yeah, a lot of these, I mean, you mentioned it earlier here as we're looking at the speed mode. A lot of these teams that are established.
The players from Aura are here to cheer on the players playing today right now, especially Snoopy. 2 of the players on the right were cheering for them, and of course we have some fans for Spear as well.
All the way from, look at that, man. A lot of fans out here. It's a packed crowd here on a Wednesday. I love to see it as we're getting ready here in item mode. We're going to be going to Desert Sphinx's Riddle here as track number 1. We'll see if the Freaks are able to close things out, man. They've been looking so good. And here we go on Desert Sphinx's Riddle. And just to get back to the point that I was trying to make before we got those shots of the audience, and the players for Aura there in the stands, we have a little bit of downtime here at the start of item mode, is It is very tough coming into a new team or making a debut as an item ace because a lot of the responsibility comes on you to make the right play calling, to try and devise the strategy of attack to deliver a win here for your team. And, this is also, a new patch here in KDL Preseason 2. There have been a lot of balance changes. Balloons are now here in the game. So there are more attacks that are going on. A lot of the items have been reworked. For example, Angel Shield getting nerfed. Some of these attacks becoming a lot more prevalent. It's a complicated thing, and even in KDL Preseason 1, it took a little while to really see the meta start to settle. I wonder how long it's going to take for us to find what are the best strategies here in KDL Preseason 2 item mode.
For item mode, I feel like it's definitely just fiesta of throwing missiles, water bombs, and water whips. And then maybe at the last second, in the last lap especially, you want to make sure that you're saving the items because sometimes players have struggled with not having the items at the right moments because they used it too early. And I feel like that's the focus for a lot of these item aces where the shot calling is going to revolve around.
Yeah, but even the wombo combo of like the magnet and the nitrous is not quite as good as it used to be. The acceleration, I think, is Scarlet. A little bit of a cool play right there. I love that slide drift coming in. The acceleration getting nerfed a little bit there on the magnet makes nitrous a little bit more valuable there in the finishing stretches. And it's got to be interesting to see how these teams start to prioritize all these different items as we're coming here into the final lap. Spear still leading the charge here for the Freaks, but Snoopy and Minchik right behind him. We do have a lot of nitrous, a lot of magnets here, especially towards the the bottom part of the pack, and even some Thunderbolts coming in.
Yep, Spear is holding on to an Angel as well as a Lightning. Mintic also has a Lightning now. World picks one up as well. These Angels are going to be absolutely important as the Angels start getting sacked left and right. Now it's Cool and Sungbin leading the pack for Guangdong Freaks. Cool is looking uncontested right now, but the Water Wisp is going to come in huge. Scarlet going to get targeted by a missile, but it's enough for him to take first place for Seraphic.
Yeah, a lot of momentum lost there for the Freaks in the final stretch, and Scarlet, despite getting hit by that missile, had just enough momentum to cross the finish line. And Seraphic getting their first track win here in KDL Preseason 2, getting on the board, a 1-0 lead here in item mode against KWANGDONGFREECS, the reigning champions. And I mean, that's got to be a weight off these guys' shoulders. You're coming up here on stage, or a new team, a new roster put together. It's a stressful situation, so to finally get that dub, it's got to be feeling good, and hopefully we'll see some more from them here in this series.
Right as you talked about the weight coming off their shoulders, I actually saw a player from Seraphic sighing a breath of relief, and I'm super happy for them right now for having their first round win so far, and I'm sure the fans are getting excited now as well because all it takes is 2 more round wins, and we could have another ace match for KWANGDONGFREECS in Preseason 2.
That would be fun to watch, though, man. I love my ace matches. I absolutely love them, especially considering how hot the Freaks have been so far in aces. World 5-0 overall over the last KDL Preseason 1, KDL Preseason 2. Still undefeated, much like Jung. So it's been a lot of fun coming into these ace matches. I would love an upset here for Seraphic, but we'll have to see what happens.
As you mentioned, Jung also being a strong ace match player. Both Jung and World, they share the same record right now, 5-0. So let's see if Seraphic can bring a new result to that rivalry today as they try to take us to an ace match with Village Town Hall as track number 2. Here we go, Seraphic finally putting a score on the board. We have Snoopy sitting at first place. Let's see if he can keep up that lead.
I kind of doubt it, man, here in item mode. I mean, it's so chaotic, especially here in the opening starts where, everyone's just cycling through their items, cycling through their attacks, and we'll see how things start to shape up. As I really like the way that Seraphic's approached that last track. Scarlet being able to come through there in the clutch by just saving just enough boost to get across that finish line. You love to see it here as Town Hall, man, a lot of construction going on here. There's some I don't know if you noticed, but those rows, they were not looking pleasant to drive on.
Yeah, they actually do kind of boop you off your line, and I've seen that throw people off sometimes. So I like that Town Hall is definitely adding some variance to the item mode that's already filled with so many offensive items here in Preseason 2.
Yeah, it's fun. I always love, whenever maps get updated or we have new maps getting added to the pool, it's always a pleasure to see, all the secrets that are there, all the shortcuts, all the unique map features, because it really feels like every single map kind of has its own flair. It's a lot of fun to watch. As World right now leading the charge there, does have an EMP in his back, cool right behind him, but I would not be surprised to see Minshik, Snoopy, or somebody else come and contest that. Yeah, right there, Minshik already moving up into second place as we just continue to trade hands here at the top.
Yeah, now World, he doesn't have any defensive capabilities, so now it's going to be Cool who's going to speed off for Guangdong Freaks. He does have both Angel and EMP Wave, so he's pretty stacked right now in terms of defending himself. And if you look at the minimap, Cool is racing off by himself right now, almost being untargetable.
Yeah, Cool's actually gaining a lot of distance, so if you're the rest of the players here for Guangdong Freaks, I would not be surprised if they just try to create problems here for Seraphic in the middle of the pack. And look, actually Seraphic in 5, 6, 7, 8 positions right now. This is lap number 3. So if the Freaks are able to hold on to this,
Snoopy with the magnet.
Only 500 meters away.
Yep, Snoopy, he's holding onto that magnet, so he's going to be looking to use that now in World to try to catch up. And Snoopy is going to do it in style with the 180 turn.
Yeah, look at that, man. That was some perfect magnet. As perhaps the Guangdong Freaks were running a little bit too far ahead right there, and they didn't have the items in the bag to really come through and get across that final stretch before the finish line. Instead, it's going to be the magnet coming in. And man, I know the acceleration got nerfed, but it didn't feel like it right there as he just zoomed on by Snoopy, picking up the win there for Seraphic as they are now one track away from securing an ace match here against the Freaks. What an upset here in item mode.
I love that the item ace is here to show up for Seraphic. When I looked at the item inventory on the side of Seraphic, there were no items. They were all so bare, and it was just that one magnet looking kind of good for Snoopy, and he utilized it at the perfect timing when the EMP wave wasn't available on the side of Guangdong Freaks. As we take a look at the replay, this might be that happening.
I mean, look at the item list right now here for the Freaks. They have, what, 4 EMPs, a Nitrous, and a Water Balloon? There is, like, no counterplay. A Banana, yeah, okay, that does get Scarlet, but Snoopy here with a Magnet, you'll be able to come through and just zap all that momentum there from World, and with a little bit of flair going for that 180.
Yep.
Securing the win. Love to see that there for Seraphic. I mean, the Freaks maybe a little bit too comfortable leading the pack right there. Would love to see them hang a little bit more back, maybe try and secure some more attacking items to potentially, allow World to really just cross that finish line. Instead, it's going to be Seraphic up with a 2-0 lead here in item mode.
It was Spear who had the EMP wave for the Guangdong Freaks, and it would have been nice if he was at the front so that he could have absorbed that magnet, but of course, as it comes to the last moments of item mode, you can't have everything go your way, especially due to how hectic it is. You can pretty much never guarantee a specific player from your team to be in the front. It's always going to be decided based on which items were targeted on who throughout the match.
Yeah, it really does come down to that final stretch there in item mode. And it's one of the reasons why we talk a little bit more about, the meta game and exactly where these teams are lining up. And, track number 1, or lap number 1, excuse me, lap number 2 is because, once you go into lap number 3, especially, the last kilometer, last 500 meters before you cross that finish line, it's going to be, okay, how do these inventories stack up? What counterplay do these teams have available? Where is everybody? If there's shortcuts on the map, who is taking it? And it's really just that mixture that leads to victory. And Seraphic, twice in a row, able to analyze the situation and play it to perfection. And once again, up 2-0 here in item mode against the Freaks. Not a result I was expecting.
We may have found the weakness to Guangdong Freaks State, because last time when they played off against Potential, it was also item mode where they lost 2-3 and had to go to that ace match. And now coming in against another rookie team today, and now being down 0-2, it has to be concerning now. Maybe does Guangdong Freaks need to start looking for an item ace?
Maybe, man. I feel like it's maybe just, it's more likely that they just, go back to the drawing board. They have an excellent coaching staff. The talent on this roster is insane. Just, try to find a way of adjusting a little bit better to the new meta here in item mode. As we've had so many shakeups, not only with the different maps, but also with balloons, with rebalancing of the items themselves, that I feel like, especially for a team of veterans, they're going to be able to figure it out. It's just going to take some time.
there are certain tracks definitely where we've seen the water bomb have a better usage due to the track being extremely narrow, so there's not a lot of space for you to be weaving in left and right into the inners and the outers. And I feel like that's definitely going to be a track where we start seeing a lot more priorities on shields, and angels of course are always being prioritized, but you know, an item like shield, it's not as useful because it can only protect yourself, but even that can definitely come in clutch in certain tracks.
Yeah, but even angel shield got nerfed. It only blocks one attack, so it is going to be, you know, difficult to make that adjustment and find out exactly, you know, what the right formula is for success here for the Freaks. As they did ask for a little bit of time to try and maybe collect themselves here, as that's why we had this brief pause, but soon they will be ready. We will be going into track number 3 shortly here. As the Freaks, you know, just getting ready. It must be tough going down 2-0 here in item mode, you know?
Yeah, and our fan here is saying, because of Seraphic, I had to finish my test in 10 minutes and my hands hurt. Then you see that little cute little emoji there.
I can relate, man. I remember when I was in high school, and like, I'm 30 years old now, so this is just ancient history, but I remember I was taking a health class final, a written exam. We had to write this little essay in class. It was the health teacher, right? And I had PE the previous class. I broke my finger playing basketball, and I showed my teacher, my health class teacher. I'm like, I think my finger's like really hurt. Like, I can't do this essay. She's like, no, you're gonna do this in-class essay. Your finger's fine. I go home, it swells up. I go to the doctor, they're like, yeah, this is broken. And the next day I go back to my teacher, like, you told me it was fine, it's broken.
That sounds definitely controversial in today's time and age.
Oh, it's fine.
But I
got stronger for it. But oh man, I haven't thought of that memory in so long. But yeah, hands hurting after taking an exam. I certainly can relate. As I think finally, Peter, our teams are getting ready. We're going to be going to track number 3. Seraphic going to try and close this one out here on Desert Pharaoh's Pass. Will they be able to force an ace match here against the Freaks? And here we go on Pharaoh's Pass. Seraphic just one track win away. If they can continue this item mode momentum, they will be going to that ace match here against the Freaks, as the pressure is really on right now for our veteran team.
Yeah, and Guangdong Freaks called for a pause because they wanted something checked out in the previous match, but the referees have decided that there are no issues, so we're going to continue as is with Seraphic leading 2-0. So we're hoping to see Seraphic closing it out on this track here because it is their track of choice.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is their track of choice, so perhaps Seraphic has some really nice plans here on Pharaoh's Path to try and make something happen. This Spear barely making that jump. Barricade comes through, everyone able to avoid that easily here as we're going into lap number 2. World and Spear right now holding up positions 1 and 3. Well, I say that, and we just continue to trade hands here because this is item mode.
Yep.
But Seraphic looking pretty good right now. They have a lot of players, you know, positioned close to the top of the pack, and you know, depending on how these items shake out, we'll have to see what happens here in lap number 3.
I like that World is in the front right now for Guangdong Freaks because he does have a shield as well as an angel, so he's trying to absorb a lot of the aggro. In fact, he just picked up another shield, so he just used up 2 items from the side of Seraphic, and he's still in the front.
Yeah, he's just been cycling through those, so, you know, just trying to take any aggro he can. As Sungbin now coming in. Nice attack right there on Promise. Is going to be able to slow him down quite a bit. As Spear actually trying to set up, I think, for a water balloon. We'll see if it gets thrown. I think it did, but was not able to connect. As Cool and World right now in positions 1 and 2, entering the final lap.
Yeah, things are not looking good because World, he's constantly getting the defensive items. This time, he does have the EMP wave so that the Magnet from Minsik will not come in as clutch this time around. As we see now, Cool once again taking up the front with World. Both players having the EMP this time. They don't want what happened in round 2 to repeat.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the item list right now, and I'm really liking where Minsik is set up with both a Nitrous and a Magnet. You can see him not wanting to rotate off of those, just trying to close the distance as best he can. So if the rest of these players here for Seraphic can try and attack, maybe they can buy some space. We see UFOs coming in, but KWANGDONG Freaks, they just have so many players to the front. Not enough attacks able to come in there for Seraphic. And it's going to be actually a 1-2-3 finish. Not that it matters here in item mode, but everything went right here for the Freaks in track number 3.
Yeah, Scarlet was the only player that had the best chance for Seraphic there near the end, but he got targeted out by a Water Wisp, and at that point, it was a very one-sided victory for Guangdong Freaks. Now, coming up on the board 1-2, they need to win 2 more tracks to be able to have a clean sweep today. And what do you think, Slade? Do you think they have what it takes?
I think it can go either way. I can see Seraphic easily taking one of these next 2 maps, considering how well they've played so far today here in item mode. But, you know, the Freaks are also the Freaks. I would not be surprised if they won these next 2 tracks 2-0. So, I understand it's kind of a middle of the road answer, not very exciting, but I really do feel like either of these teams, you know, I might have the Guangdong Freaks coming through with another 2-0 win. We might have Seraphic forcing their first ever ace match here in the KDL preseason. And I would love to see them be able to do that because, I mean, you know, a new team coming here to the KDL and going up against the Freaks in an ace match, a repeat of what we saw the first weekend would be so much fun. We'll see if they're able to close it out. Still 1 track win away as we move on to Factory Brody's Glue.
Kick the race off with Seraphic still at match point here. If they can close it out on Guangdong Freaks' choice of track, that would spell doom for the Freaks.
And hopefully Seraphic will have a little bit better item inventories here entering lap number 2 than they did in the previous track. And, you know, sometimes that's just kind of the way things shake out. You don't get too lucky, or perhaps you cycle through items at times where you really shouldn't have. And it can be difficult. Sungbin, actually. Oh, he's setting it for a Water Wisp. He actually does hit Scarlet there. Was probably hoping to get Promise as well, but instead only hitting 2 players is... that was a really clever tactic to try to go for the Water Balloon. I love that attack coming out from Sungbin. And once again, it's going to be cool. You know, leading the pack here for the Freaks. Snoopy to item ace here for Seraphic in first place, right behind him.
Yep, and I think the point you mentioned is really important, Stay, because I also noticed it too. I feel like Seraphic in these item rounds, whenever they needed their items the most in the last seconds, they were always lacking them. So I do want to see their item ace calling out for the players to hold on to those items a bit more, because they will likely need some of those Angels as well as Magnus this time around.
So many spinouts right here as we have every kind of attack coming in.
Yeah, once again, Spear just getting completely spun out of line there. It seems like it's going to be Sungbin and Cool who has the chance to keep up this lead for Guangdong Freaks, as a Water Bomb is going to go amiss.
We have some shields, some Thunderbolts, but not a lot of really big speed items here so far. You do see Snoopy and Scarlet each have a Nitrous and a Magnet apiece, so perhaps able to make something happen with that. They are in a much better aggressive position here than, you know, they were in the previous track, so potentially able to make a play. We'll see what items come out.
Good Angel usage there, but the 2 players on each side are going to get locked out by the Water Bomb. Now Snoopy also gets caught out. Now it's World looking to continue that momentum for the Freaks.
Yeah, Whirlpool and Sungbin right now leading the charge. Scarlet and Snoopy going to try their best to close the distance. Attacks coming in. Will they be able to find World? Only out of 50 meters away. Attack comes in, and now Snoopy going to be able to cross it and force an ace match here for Seraphic. As you can tell, they are feeling pumped right now. Coming into item mode, they had not won a single track here in KDL Preseason 2 yet, but now they're going to an ace match against the best team in the league.
Snoopy is super clutch today, Stay. He has won so many of these rounds for Seraphic today, coming in at the end when it's needed. He's the one that is so good at holding on to the items for Seraphic, and you can see him proudly showing off his banner there saying, "Say your wishes to Seraphic." And I'm sure the fans are going to say, we want you guys to win, and we want to see that ace match, which we are going to now with Seraphic winning 3-1 an item here against the Freaks.
Yeah, that's a great story here for Seraphic. I mean, even if they walk away without getting a win here in the ace match, I mean, this has just got to be such a relief for this team. And yeah, this is the kind of result, especially against, you know, the reigning champions from KDL Preseason 1, that can give you a little bit of momentum. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a turning point here for Seraphic in KDL Preseason 2, and they're able to come through with some more clutch performances here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and this is the second time already that Guangdong Freaks is going to be forced to do an ace match, and this is also their second match, so I must say the form of our defending champion is looking a bit shaky as we start Preseason 2, as, you know, they're deciding who's going to be going up on that ace match. I'm pretty sure it's going to be World for Guangdong Freaks. You have to let the guy continue his streak. If he wins another one today, then he's going to be 6-0 in ace match records, effectively putting him at a place higher than Jung right now in the ace match standings.
Yeah, he's just been playing out of his mind here in these 1v1 races. So you got to think it's going to be World here for the Freaks. And so if you're Seraphic right now, you got to be thinking who really on our roster has the best chance of taking him down. I mean, it could be Maru, it could be Minchik.
Yeah.
I think those are probably the two players that I would be most leaning most towards putting out here. But it's just such a difficult task. It feels like a David versus Goliath story here, going up against the ace for the Freaks. As we're getting ready, we're going to find out what the map is going to be. And once again, we're going to WKC Japan circuit.
Yeah, I love that we're getting to see a lot of the Japan circuit today. And if I were to take a guess on the side of Seraphic, I'm expecting to see Minchik because I know he is the player choosing for that burst card body. So let's see what happens here as the players get ready to be shown on stage.
So much anticipation right now about who it's going to be for Seraphic, as this could be a very big moment here for them in KDL Preseason 2, and it will be Minchik and actually the Freaks bringing out Sungbin. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely something I did not expect.
Yeah, I was really thinking that they would try to let World, you know, add on to his lead. 5-0 overall in ace matches, potentially going to 6-0 if he were to win today. But instead, you know, the Freaks, I mean, this is a team that has so much depth, so much skill on their roster. I mean, Sungbin coming out. This is still going to be an incredibly difficult task here for Minchik to take him down. I mean, Minchik, formerly the runner on Team Planet, now the speed ace here on Seraphic, looking for a chance to prove himself here against one of the best teams in the world.
And he has a chance right here today, going up against Sungbin in WKC Japan circuit. Let's see if Seraphic can get their first win of Preseason 2.
Sungbin versus Minchik, Seraphic versus the Freaks, as the Seraphic is looking to make the ultimate upset here early on in KDL Preseason 2.
Yeah, we see Sungbin being very aggressive right now with his lines, crashing into Minchik at every opportunity he has, but it's Minchik who is leading. And it seems like the nitrous gauge is pretty even for both players currently.
Yeah, Sungbin maybe just a little bit of an edge right now, but it is so close in terms of nitro gauge that you know, it's hard to choose a player that you could advantage. And Sungbin, I mean, he's still in drafting range. Minchik, yes, he is leading the pack right now, but this is a 3-lapper. There is a lot of track left to be played.
So I really like the strategy coming out from Sungbin. As you pointed out, State, Sungbin did have a pretty nice nitrous advantage there as he cuts into the front.
Yeah, building up a little bit more nitrous here too as he gets in front of Minchik and continues to take these tight inner lines. We'll see if Minchik's able to close the distance or if he's going to be content to just try and stay in drafting range, moving on into lap number 3.
Once again, Minchik is behind right now in the booster gauge, so the key for Minchik will be the draft timing when he decides to go for it. In fact, he takes the wide outer line, and that's going to be enough for him to get the lead. Now, it's Sungbin playing catch-up.
Yeah, a little bit of a collision right there. We'll take some momentum there from Sungbin, so he's going to have to use these drafts to close the distance yet again. Minchik right now in the lead here for Seraphic. We'll see if he's able to hold on to it. Getting ready to go into lap number 3.
I like that both players here are taking completely different lines. Sungbin tried to murder Minchik there by going in his line, but it didn't work out for him because now Minchik does have a wide lead. Sungbin trying to take the tighter corners to get back into draft range.
Yeah, that was such an aggressive play right there as we entered lap number 3 to try and just take Minchik out with a big sweep. And now it's going to be Minchik playing a little bit of defense. Oh, actually stopping Sungbin from taking that tighter line, but no, Sungbin able to come back in yet again. Now in first place.
He finds the angle. Now it's Minchik's turn to try to do the same. He takes the inner, but he goes wide, and now it's Sungbin in the lead. Minchik trying to get back into draft range, but he's out of nitrous.
150 meters away here on the straightaway, and it actually will be Sungbin able to close it out just by a hair on the right lane. As that was as close as it gets. I mean, KWANGDONGFREECS, their first 2 matches, 2 photo finishes in aces against 2 rookie teams. I mean, say what you want about their form. It does look a little bit more shaky here starting off KDL Preseason 2, but they are as of yet still undefeated.
Yeah, and the fact that they were able to pull off a victory in Ace Match, not even using World, their most redeemed player in Ace Match, and just swapping in Sungbin shows the prowess of this lineup in the Freaks. Why everyone says, you know, no matter who comes out for that Ace Match, you know you're fighting against some of the best players in Ace Match.
And just a 1/10 of a second separating these 2 racers, but Sungbin with 10 more drifts, 62 to the 52 there for Minchik. potentially the difference maker there in that race. Is Guangdong Freaks able to deliver yet another win here for their fans? But if you're a fan of rookie teams, if you like rooting for the underdogs, you're still going to be happy with this performance from Seraphic, going all the way to the ace match against the reigning champions, the Freaks, and making it so close.
Oh yeah, I'm really happy State. Seraphic, having been the only amateur team with 0-6 for their record, has been pretty rough for them, but today they managed to rack up a lot more set wins as well as round wins. So, and if they can pull that off against the Freaks, I'm sure that, you know, the future teams they face, it's only going to get easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this might be a turning point for them, and it's lucky that it's coming so early in this season as well. I mean, this is only their second match here against the KWANGDONG Freaks, so there's a lot of races left to be played here for Seraphic, and if they can continue to perform at the level that we saw them play here against the Freaks, I could see them picking up a lot more wins.
Yeah, and I loved how calm Minsik was at the end there. Despite losing, he was still able to clap for his opponent as well as for his own team's performance today. You know, Minsik is a player from Planet in Preseason 1, and he hasn't been able to find much success there. And I hope in Preseason 2, he's at least able to look back on the season and say, you know what, I played pretty darn good. And I know that teams are going to want to pick me up if they want to succeed in KDL.
Or maybe even Seraphic, if this, you know, roster starts to gel a little bit, we might see them in the regular season for KDL, you know, come later this year. There might not be another shakeup here with this roster. Is, you know, everyone right here, it's a new game. They're trying to find out exactly who they want to race with and who they want to, you know, try to forge a championship team with. And so for Seraphic, you know, if they can start to build that chemistry and gain some momentum, it could be very good for them.
Yeah, and we can see the fan there saying, actually, Guangdong Freaks, win however you want to. And I feel like that is pretty much the motto for Guangdong Freaks right now. This team, even if they lose in speed, item, it doesn't matter because it feels like they just end up winning all the time anyways in whatever fashion they choose.
Yeah, they've been playing out of their minds recently. I mean, these ace matches have been so clutch for them, and if they can start to, you know, consolidate a little bit, start to shore up those defenses there in item mode, I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing them get a little bit more sweeps as we carry on in KDL Preseason 2.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely would be what you hope for because so far they've gone against two amateur teams, but once they go against teams like Liiv SANDBOX,
or
Sungnam Rocks, Aura, you know, it's definitely going to be some of that bigger matchups, the more anticipated matchups for the fans as well, and that's where they got to show up, right? You know, as long as they win there, you can kind of forget about their early game in the season, how they've been shaky. It doesn't matter as long as they're winning what's important.
Yeah, and I'm liking what we're seeing out of a lot of these teams so far here in KDL Preseason 2. It feels like this is going to be a very competitive lineup from top to bottom. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw these standings get closer and closer as we continue to carry on with this season. And, you know, the Freaks, they don't seem quite as godly as they did in KDL Preseason 1. Meanwhile, a lot of other contesting teams, like Aura, for example, looking really good.
Yeah, that's why it's a chance for these amateur teams. But, of course, we'll be back soon with the matchup between ShowTime and Aura. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.
Nobody stopping me. Nobody stopping me. Nobody stopping me.
nobody stopping me. Nobody stopping me.
love, love the way you make it look, make it look, make it look easy. Come on, won't you make it look, make it look, make it look easy.
Welcome back to the KDL, everybody. We are getting ready to go to our second team match of the night. ShowTime versus Aura. I am State. With me is Peter. Just had an excellent treat of a match number one. Seraphic versus the Freaks going the distance all the way to the ace match. And now we're moving on to what might be another underdog story here. ShowTime. The rookies going up against the established team Aura.
Another team looking to go to the ace match today because last time against Rocks, although they showed some potential, they couldn't take the match all the way to ace. And of course the players, you see some players like Ghost and Monster who really stand out to me because I know both of those players like to stay in the front, and especially Monster was really successful with keeping up with the top of the pack.
Yeah, there's potential for this team for sure. They didn't seem that bad against Rocks despite losing that series overall, but Aura right now, I mean, it's very early here in KDL Preseason 2, but they just feel like they keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. They were, at the start of KDL Preseason 1, by far the best item team that was on the field. And with the addition of Looning now as their speed ace, they're just starting to continue to solidify all facets of their game. This is a team that I think everybody has to look out for here in KDL Preseason 2, as, man, they've got a lot of firepower in that lineup.
Wolf mentioned Looning all the time in Preseason 1.
He loved him.
All the time as one of his players that he's looking out for, so I'm sure he's really happy, Wolf, that is, that Aura now picked this guy up and is already starting off their season so strong. The only team in KDL right now with a 6-0 record, and of course, ShowTime, they're the opponents looking to take them down.
Yeah, showcasing their presence against a pro team, now aiming to get their first win, as we have a lot of these rookie teams coming in here to the KDL Preseason 2 trying to prove themselves. So far, it's been kind of tough. I mean, potential there in their first match against the Freaks. They showed potential. It's like, I hate to repeat it, as I know that I'll get very old very quickly. But I mean, it was a fantastic match for them, but weren't able to get the win. Seraphic also today able to go to an ace match, was not able to get a win. As they say, fellow amateurs, all of us fighting. Let's all try to win together. But as of yet, I feel like there haven't really been too many big upsets. And I wonder if that's going to happen now. And I'm skeptical because Aura, they just seem so good, Peter.
Yeah, Aura definitely looked like a great team, but as ShowTime pointed out, you know, they joked about Aura also being a fellow amateur team, right? Despite Aura basically acting like a pro team. So that's pretty much what ShowTime is hoping for, but of course Aura, as you take a look at their average ranks, Hero sitting in first place.
Yeah, Hero, if I'm not mistaken, because I watched the matches on the weekend, but I didn't cast them. I think he got like, what, first place in every single speed?
Yep. Every
single speed track, it was a 3-0. That's just crazy. Oh, I love it. Oh, I'm sorry, but who are you, says Aura to ShowTime. Man, just brutal here today from these pro teams.
Yeah, I mean, in a competitive environment like this, you know, even the teams themselves, they kind of have like a tier list in their brain, and they're like, oh, we're at least better than you, although we're both amateur teams, and I feel like both teams trying to express that today.
Yeah, for sure. All right, looking at the speed track list now, Aura with a first pick here in speed mode, going for Mine 3 shortcuts. Okay, and then after that, we're going to move on to Winding Slopes, Terracotta Twister, Boom Hill Tunnel, and Brazil Circuit. So there's some kind of difficult tracks here to start things out, especially Terracotta Twister, and that has me a little concerned here for ShowTime, because when they played against Rocks on Terracotta, it was not good. They lost to a 1-2-3 finish there by Rocks, and on Zigzag Timberland, which is another very difficult, very technical, very complicated racetrack in speed, although it isn't here in this pool, Rocks was actually able to get the 1-2-3-4 finish here against ShowTime. So we'll see if ShowTime's able to bring something a little bit better here today against Aura on these more difficult tracks. Man, Aura, they've just gotten so good, again, especially with the addition of Looting. I cannot wait to cast these guys, man. I was sad that I missed this opening weekend because it was a lot of fun action, but I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah, so ShowTime put a lot of emphasis on banning the tracks that are really hard. You know, tracks like Constructing Chaos and Zigzag Timberland are some of the top tracks in that department, whereas Aura, they banned out New York Rally, which is a pretty easy track where I feel like a lot of amateur teams have decent showing against even the likes of a team like Aura. And Japan Circuit, I have to assume that got banned out due to the lack of practice that Aura players have had on it compared to some of the original kart rider tracks.
Yeah, that might be it, but also Japan Circuit doesn't seem as complicated as a lot of other tracks in the pool, so that was maybe them trying just to up the difficulty level in any possible way that they can here to really flex their muscles against the up-and-coming team ShowTime, and we'll see if that strategy pays off here in the speed draft.
Yeah,
looks like our teams are getting ready.
one of the players did have some issues with their audio, but they're checking to make sure that they can communicate with each other just fine. So they're taking the time right now to go through the checks, and he's looking kind of smirked there.
Yeah, a lot of sass on Team Aura today, man. I love to see it. And
Yep.
hopefully we'll get this sound issue resolved really quickly here for the teams. And you see the admins and perhaps some technical staff there trying to help them sort all that out. But it should be a really fun match for today. I mean, ShowTime again against Rocks, which is a really solid team. They didn't seem that bad, despite losing that series overall and especially having some difficulty on the difficult tracks. They certainly showed a lot of potential. I mean, there's a good reason why they're here, why they qualified for KDL Preseason 2. And I would love to have an upset happen here today between these rookie teams against, or although they don't technically have a big sponsor to make them quote unquote a pro team, I mean, they're a pro team in my heart. They are so good. They're so talented.
Absolutely. We talked about before the broadcast state that honestly, Preseason 2 might be where Aura could get a win and become the new champion.
It's
and
possible.
They need to continue that momentum today if they want to have a chance at that. Of course, Aura, a team that you mentioned being really good at item mode. However, when they won the coin flip today against ShowTime, they put priority on picking their speed track first.
Well,
so you have to wonder about that. Maybe they're a bit more confident in their speed this season, and also they saw some potential in ShowTime being good at speed because that was where they were able to push Rocks to game number 5, where in item mode it ended in game number 4.
All right, well, it looks like the audio issue has been resolved. Both teams are ready as we're getting ready to start team match number 2 here today. Track number 1 will be raced on mine free shortcuts.
Here we go, beginning our first speed match between Aura and ShowTime. Looning already looking really good with knock and seize.
Oh yeah, man, Looning's pulled away so far ahead. And you have to give credit to the teammates there for Aura to do some body blocking, body checking to really allow him to spread his wings. I think that was actually Ghost that took that corner a little bit too tight and caught it as we're entering a very difficult area right here. Right now, kind of reminiscent of Terracotta Twister is, we saw this before in item mode. Here in speed mode, this map is chaos.
Ghost and Monster are the 2 runners for ShowTime, or players that like to stay in the front. And the fact that they're in the back is really concerning because FaZe, there's no shot that he's going to be breaking this 1-2 anytime soon. With Hero being there in 4th place, we know Hero as a guy who's always in 1st place, but so far Aura not thrown off by the fact that Hero's in 4th.
Yeah, FaZe not a runner, more comfortable in the middle of the pack trying to cause disruptions and support his teammates. Is going to have to play the role of the speed master here for his team, and you see him, he's trying to slow down Knock and Hero as best he can to allow his teammates to close the distance. As Looning, he's pulled so far ahead that really the win condition here for ShowTime is, maybe going for a 2-3-4 or something along that lines, right? It's going to be very difficult to unseat Looning, and with Knock now passing FaZe, it just makes that problem so much more complicated.
And now we see Knock with a fantastic knockback on FaZe. They're off of the wall. Now, recovering that 1-2 for Aura here. Ghost and Flare doing all they can to catch up, but 4, 5, 6, 7 is nothing compared to a 1-2-3.
Yeah, 1-2-3 right now for Aura as they're in complete control. FaZe doing everything he can to try and upheave Hero here, but it's going to be a dominating win for Team Aura here in track number 1. I mean, Looning just ran away with that one straight off the gates, and the body blocking and the support there from his teammates were so good in the middle field. And then to be able to come up behind him and shore him up with a 1-2-3 finish, just tremendous stuff here from Team Aura.
Yeah, that was a tragic start for ShowTime there. Ghost and Monster, they weren't able to recover, actually finishing 6th and 8th. So the worst positions for their team, and I feel like that's when the strategy for ShowTime really falls apart. And once again, reiterating the fact that Aura didn't even need Hero, their ace player, all the way at the front. That is enormous.
I mean, Hero's just been so good. The first 3 speed tracks that Team Aura played in KDL Preseason, he was first in every single one of them. So the fact that they are able to rely on Looting just to run away there, I mean, it shows the depth that they have on their roster here as Aura just in a commanding position here after track number 1. And I mean, just looking at the players reading their body language, Aura, they just seem so comfortable here. ShowTime perhaps a little bit more pensive, trying to figure out what went wrong. How can they avoid another situation like that in track number 2? As Peter, I think we're getting ready.
Yep, we're going to be entering Mine Winding Slopes as the track of choice coming in from ShowTime. Let's see if they can put a point on the board this time.
Here we go on Mine Winding Slopes. We'll see if Luding's able to get the fantastic start that he did in track number 1. It's going to be Hero here leading the charge for Team Aura.
Aura back to their good old strategy where C's is going to be the backup for Hero now. Of course, Knock there to knock out the players of ShowTime as needed. This time it's Monster in the front as usual.
Yeah, Monster's in the front, but man, Hero sees and Knock already in a commanding 1-2-3 puncher in the front. As you see Knock doing his best to try and zone Monster out. Oh, I love that!
Yeah.
Trying to push Monster actually off the edge there, just creating so many problems. Another body block also gets phased. With Knock just causing so many problems, you see him try to take that tight inner line to also sweep Monster there. And
Monster!
I'm not exactly sure what went wrong there for Monster as he fell off the track. Was that potentially a disconnect? I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but the race for now at least will continue.
Yeah, it seems like definitely Monster is thrown off guard by that one, as now it seems like there's no recovery happening for the players of ShowTime. Knock is blocking out Flare, but you look at the positions of C's and Hero, they're way too far ahead.
Yeah, and Monster not even on the track, so I have to wonder whether there's going to be an admin decision right now. It seems like Aura is just in a complete commanding position, only 400 meters away here. And we'll see. I mean, yeah, this is just going to be the easiest win here for Team Aura. As we'll see if track number 2 is going to catch. Yeah, okay, we're getting confirmation here from RPD that we're actually going to be going into a rematch there, as Monster had an unfortunate disconnect about a quarter of the way through the track. But man, it's a little unfortunate there for Aura because, I mean, they were off to such a tremendous start and not only holding on to positions 1 and 2, but the body blocking there in the middle field was so good for their team. It was just tremendous.
Yeah, and Monster, he took too monstrous of a line for the game to handle. So we have to do a rematch.
Oh my goodness, Peter. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, what can we say? He's too good. His lines are just next level. That's why even Cartwright or Drift, you know, they struggle to figure out what he was doing
Can't contain him. Can't contain him. I mean, Monster certainly was off to the best start there for Team ST by far, but Aura was just in the commanding position really from the get-go there in track number 2, and we'll see if they're able to repeat that here as we're getting ready to go into a rematch. We'll see if it seems like actually some admins and more tech staff is coming in to try and make sure this issue does not happen again, as perhaps it was a network problem. Waiting to see if he's able to rejoin the lobby.
Okay, so it seems like they're going to be swapping out the PC, getting a new one to make sure that the problem doesn't reoccur.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll get that one done pretty quick, man. I mean, these teams, you see like these pit crews and these like professional racing teams like IRL, they're able to like swap out the tires in like 1-2 seconds. That's our staff here at the KDL, man. We're gonna have a new PC ready for these guys any moment now, but for now, you know, just a little bit of downtime here, giving our players, our teams, a little bit of time to collect themselves, or they've got to be feeling really good after winning track number 1 in such dominating fashion, and also being off to such a good start there in track number 2.
Yeah, I really hope that Aura, if they do end up winning today, it's going to be in a dominant fashion, just so we can see them continue on their lead so far here in Preseason 2.
Fans here in the crowd showing support for all of our players here.
Yeah, and they're saying the future winning team is going to be Aura.
It might be true, man. I mean, I feel like I might be jumping the gun a little bit too much getting on the Aura train, considering this is literally their second match here in KDL Preseason 2. But I was so impressed by them in Preseason 1, really from the start of the season. And they just continuously got better and better and better. And yeah, they didn't get top 2 there, but they had a tremendous showing overall. And you know, with the addition of Looning coming in now as their speed ace, I feel like this team, it's really starting to round itself out. And of all the teams right now in KDL, I mean, although, oh my goodness.
Look at that gaze.
Yeah.
He's looking into my soul.
Almost lost my train of thought there, man. I was just derailed by that intense eye contact. But going back to what I was saying, I mean, Aura, they're just getting so well-rounded now that I really feel like if they're able to continue to perform at a high enough level and even continue to improve the way that they have this entire year, I could see them easily competing with the likes of Liiv SANDBOX, of Rox Esports, of the KWANGDONGFREECS, and now only time will tell exactly where Aura is going to end up at the end here of KDL Preseason 2, but I've got to say, man, if you're an Aura fan right now watching from home, the future is very bright for your favorite team.
I feel like one of the most important conditions to make sure that your team is capable of making it to the playoffs is that you have to be consistent against the amateur teams. You know, no one expects you to always win against professional giants, I was about to say, as we see already the mental attack coming in to the players of Aura. They're getting thrown off. It's going to affect their line.
Man, you can just see that. What is this meta? Everyone's just like putting fingers in each other's faces. But you can see, at least on Team Aura, man, they're feeling so comfortable, so relaxed, feeling good. And I mean, just having the Nock Tech duo for item mode, and Nock also being such a good hybrid player. You know, he's been coming up clutch here in speed mode as well. And with Looning, Hero, and the sweeping out of Seas, it just feels like Aura, with so much depth, is going to be a difficult opponent, really, for ShowTime, or really any other team for that matter, to go up against here in KDL Preseason 2. I just cannot wait to watch this season develop, see them continue to grow their skills, build chemistry as a team, as they are all smiles right now. So we continue to wait through this technical pause, win and get that new PC set up here for our player on ShowTime. Man, exciting day of KDL so far.
I love the teamwork between Aura here, not just in the gameplay of Cartrider, but also just as a team, as friends overall, because you can see them just casually joking around to each other. Hey, look at the camera, give them some eye contact, you know, it's your time to be on the screen, and I'm loving the dynamics between our players. Oh my, going for the zoom in.
Yeah, they're having fun. Man, for me as an RTS guy also, like, looking at the way these guys have their keyboard and mouse setup, it scares me for a moment. I'm like, that's not enough mouse pad for your mouse, man. That's like a couple centimeters. But yeah, it's a keyboard game here in Cartrider.
Oh.
Keyboard game here in KD.
Yeah, there was some staring contest going on there, but he only lasted like 3-4 seconds. It's hard to keep those eyes open. They get dry really fast, especially as a gamer. You ever had that state?
Yeah, man. When I play games at home, I have this bug where especially if it's like a 1v1 match that I'm playing or something that's really competitive, my eyes just stay open. I do not blink. My eyes get so watery. It is tough. And all right, the computer has been swapped in. We're ready to go back here into a repeat of track number 2 on Mind Winding Slopes. Let's get into it.
All right, let's get this rematch back on board. Aura is leading by a point. Let's see if Hero will be able to take the lead once again.
Yeah, we'll see. It feels like Aura has a really good read on exactly how to start on this map. This is almost like a repeat of the previous track with Seas, Hero, and Looting in commanding positions. Now Flare here in 3rd place is going to try and disrupt this flow a little bit here for his team and provide Ghost, Monster, and FaZe with some time to close the distance, but Aura once again just in commanding position. I want to see.
Oh my goodness, absolute execution there.
Yeah, absolutely brutal now. Ghost is going to try and close in. Monster right behind him, but Aura just very quickly running away with this one yet again.
Yeah, Flare, he's been set far behind, and once again, you can see even FaZe, he is struggling. They're so far behind right now that it's only Monster and Ghost really competing. Even if Ghost manages to break the 1-2, which doesn't even seem possible right now, it's not enough.
Just look at the picture-in-picture, man. Seas and Hero, they are so far ahead of the pack. Ghost is doing everything in his power to close the distance, but with Looting hot on his tails, and Nock as well, with a 360 spin attack. Oh my goodness, look at a special attack from a fighting game or something, man. That was a cool move, but Aura with the 1-2 finisher from Seas and Hero going to be able to deliver once again the win in a commanding fashion here, just dominating the speed mode against ST.
I'm really surprised because ShowTime, they picked Mind Winding Slopes themselves, and they've had 2 chances now to play on it here against Aura, and both times they really struggled to break that 1-2 combo coming in from Hero as well as C's. I feel like if you cannot break that 1-2 combo, you're gonna have always a really tough time against Aura and Speed.
I mean, the 1-2 combo is just a guaranteed win, right? And or they probably, if they wanted to, could have played for a 1-2-3 or something to that effect, because Looning was in a really commanding position to, shore up that back line there. But, the name of the game really is just win the track as you can. So Looning went in for a little bit more sweeping and a little bit less running, created problems there for Team ShowTime, and Aura able to deliver a win yet again as the good times continue here for Team Aura.
Yeah, they're only 1 win away now from continuing on a flawless record so far in the round points.
That's right. Yeah, they were 6-0 after the opening weekend, now 8-0 overall in tracks.
And that's a great way to build your playoff position, because once we get to the later phases of Preseason 2, a lot of teams might end up having the same exact score, and it comes down to the round wins and set wins to decide who moves on.
Yeah, I mean, should these teams be tied overall in set wins, I mean, winning more tracks, that is the tiebreaker. So 8-0 to start is just such a comfortable position here for Team Aura. So we're getting ready to move on to Terracotta Twister, one of the more difficult tracks here in speed mode. We'll see if ShowTime is able to bring it back. And here we go on Terracotta Twister. Previously against Rocks, ShowTime took a 1-2-3 defeat just this past weekend, as this map has been a little bit of a challenge for them here against these more established teams. We'll see if they're able to turn that around right now, with Ghost and FaZe right now, 2nd and 3rd position, Looning right behind him, trying to help his teammate Hero.
This is the best start that ShowTime has had so far against Aura in tracks. However, you look at the players of Aura, the 1-2-3-4, these 4 are always bound together, coming in when it's needed, whereas it feels like at least 2 players are always missing for ShowTime.
Yeah, Looning almost going for a little bit of a pit maneuver right there, just trying to cause any problems he can here for Ghost and FaZe. Is Ghost,
Ghost
no.
Goes out of line off that bounce.
Yeah, he did not actually get knocked down into the pit, but he did lose a lot of momentum right there, and that's going to solidify the position here for Aura at the front of the pack. Hero sees a Looning in 1-2-3, so we get the picture-in-picture. It is pretty close to position 2 and 3, but Hero just so far ahead, really in time trial mode right now is FaZe. He's doing everything he can to try and put his team back in the race, and Aura just looking so good right now, Peter.
I feel like Hero might be a player that we need to highlight in Preseason 2, because this guy, he's always having monstrous leads, and how does he do that?
Yeah, it's difficult to really understand, man. We're gonna have to see more and more tracks from him and exactly what his game plan is. It feels like every single time Aura's in a commanding position, more often than not, it's gonna be Hero that's leading the charge. 3 first place finishes on opening weekend as FaZe almost got knocked off there.
Yeah, Looning with a great body check there. Now Flare trying to come up to 4th place, but Noct is just gonna knock him right back, and Aura looking for that 1-2-3-4 dominating finish.
Yeah, Flare is gonna try and disrupt that a little bit, but it does not matter. Aura with a very comfortable sweep, as of yet undefeated in tracks so far here in KDL Preseason 2. 9-0 overall. Just absolute domination here.
Man, Aura, this is a team that we may start needing to place above KWANGDONGFREECS. It may be too early to do that, but say they go against KWANGDONGFREECS and they have another 6-0 sweep. Who's gonna write them off and say, no, KWANGDONGFREECS is still better because they're just a pro team? I
mean, in that case, of course. If Aura 6-0's the FREECS, you gotta give it to them. But I mean, the FREECS, the reigning champions, credit where credit is due, but Aura just showing so much potential right now in KDL Preseason 2. And Hero especially, I love that you're highlighting him individually here for Team Aura, because I think, what was it? Was it 1 or 2 tracks here in this speed mode that he finished in 1st place? Because it definitely was here on Terracotta Twister. It might have been here on another track. That's more than half of the speed tracks that Aura's won that he came through in 1st place. So really coming in clutch for his team. Hero just not making any mistakes, it feels like.
Yep, and that's why he's the best in average ranking, but of course now the item aces are going to get swapped in. And the crazy thing for Aura is that the fact that they lose Looning, such a highly coveted player, is no problem at all because Tech is also a really good item ace and he's been known for making the craziest plays.
Yeah, Looning just so good, but Aura with so much depth. They're going to go back to the Noctec duo here for item. Some former KWANGDONG players from years and years ago.
Yep.
As we get a look here at the item track list.
So I'm not too surprised by this first pick coming onto London Night by ShowTime because this is a track that a lot of the stronger teams ban out against the amateur teams because it is fairly wide open and very straightforward. While on the other side, you know, picking up a track like Motherlode, Sphinx's Riddle, I do think those were some great pickups by Aura there. They also banned out Town Hall and Shark's Wake. I feel like Shark's Wake has been really high up in the priority for ban list this season.
Yeah, and I'm a little sad about it because I want to cast some more games on Shark Waste. You know,
Yeah.
it looks like it looks like a really fun track. I would love to see some more of it. But I like the game plan here for Team Aura. And remember, you talked about them prioritizing speed mode over item mode. And I want to say that could just be them being so confident in their item mode skills that they're like, we don't need a map pick advantage in item mode to defeat anybody. And so we'll see exactly how that one plays out for them. We'll see if it bites them in the butt or if they're going to be able to deliver another win here as we move on to World Tour London Night.
Aura looking to continue on their undefeated round record in item mode.
Yeah, Aura undefeated not only in item mode, but also in speed mode, man. 9-0
Yep.
overall, as they just are looking so good. But ShowTime, if they're going to start the comeback, it's going to have to be here on London Night. They're going to have to get something going to try and force an ace match here against Team Aura.
Seems like C's is holding the front of the pack with the Angel as well as the EMP. Hero, he wasn't able to dodge the barricade there, but it doesn't matter because for him, more of his focus right now is on UFO, using it to get out some of the EMP waves from the side of ShowTime.
And also keep in mind that the further you are from first place, the higher the attack item drop propagation as well. So there could be a little bit of metagaming going on right now with Hero trying to fall all the way to 8th place just to do some more support towards his team with attacks.
Yep.
As, you know, item mode, although it does seem very chaotic, and it truly is, these play callers, they understand this game at a level that we as casters and a lot of viewers at home, I mean, it's tough to grasp, right, exactly what is going through their game plans at any given moment. So you got to think that whenever you see something like that, a player hitting a barricade, there's a reason for it.
Yeah, so what's concerning right now is that Aura is holding on to 2 Angels, whereas ShowTime, they don't have a single one. And if you look at Tech, he's holding on to a Lightning as well. So these Angels are really going to be high priority right now for ShowTime to pick up because we are in the final lap.
Yeah, I'm liking that we have a lot of magnets coming in here for ShowTime. Both Monster and Flare right now holding onto a magnet. Monster actually has a Nitrous as well, so a little bit of a wombo combo there. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try and pull back a little bit to 2nd or 3rd place to get the most utility possible out of that magnet, and potentially Monster will be able to pull some aggro too.
Hey, here comes Lightning, but it gets blocked out by the Angel. Now it's Nock who's going to spin out of control. C's looking good now, but Flare comes to the front, gets the Lightning on him, but C's is going to boost Flare a bit forward, and that's enough for ShowTime to finally get a round win against Aura.
Yeah, Flare coming in with a clutch right there. The Thunderbolt did not matter as he was able to finish. As it felt like for Team ShowTime, really there at the end, they had all the items that they needed just to take the momentum from their opponents and cross that finish line in a pivotal moment, and that is what they did. So finally getting on the board here against Aura. Aura with their first track loss of the season here, coming all the way in track number 10. So it's been an incredible run for them so far, but that's only game number 1 here in this best of 5, Peter.
I love that Prawn coming in as the item waste. Was instantly able to secure that first round win. And of course, you can see the confidence going up on the players of ShowTime as well.
Yeah, ShowTime going to be feeling really good taking the track off of Aura here, who have been item specialists from KDL Preseason 1. They're so good, especially, I mean, the Noctec duo, just legendary in the Kart Riders scene as being one of the best item team partners in the world. As we're getting ready to go into track number 2 right now. ShowTime up 1-0 as we move to Mine Mother Mode. ShowTime proving that Team Aura can bleed with that map win in track number 1. We'll see if they're able to double it up and go up 2-0 here on Motherload, as they would love to reach match point here and potentially get in striking distance of forcing that ace match.
My Motherload is a 3-lapper track, so we have plenty of time for the players to be cycling through their items this time around. We're seeing Angel and Missiles just being locked and loaded for the side of Aura.
Yeah, Aura actually running away with this a little bit, as we have a picture-in-picture highlighting how far Nock and Hero have gotten away from the pack. And with attacks coming in right now on FaZe and Thrawn, you can really see that Aura is trying their best to just build as much distance as possible. Right now, FaZe really the only player here for Team ShowTime within striking distance of this top 2.
Yeah, Nock and Hero are absolutely knocking it out of the park right now in FaZe. He gets set back even further, and he has a missile.
Another missile coming in. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Peter, but these attacks have been absolutely insane out of Aura. Just look at the distance continue to grow here for Nock and Hero. Rarely in item mode do we see players, create this much distance for their opponents. It's finally Monster with a clutch magnet. They're able to close the distance a little bit, especially here. Oh, the shield actually blocking that rocket as finally Nock getting caught up to. My goodness.
Yeah, fortunately for ShowTime, Motherload is a track where it's really long and it's pretty straight for the most part, so it's easy to get back within the range of your opponent. And now we see Monster leading the pack with a Lightning. And he picked up a banana there, not really what he wanted, because he would have liked the shield to dodge that missile.
Yeah, Nock right now holding onto a shield and an Angel shield in first place. Take now, rounding out the flank, is going to try and close the distance. Angel shield pops, does block that Thunderbolt there. As right now it feels like a little bit of a 1v run right here in the front of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, Nock, he's holding on to 2 shields, so he's looking really good. Now Tech is coming up for support. He does have the EMP wave to block out some of the magnets in case it gets picked up by ShowTime. Flare with the water bomb. He does manage to surpass Nock.
Yeah, but only FaZe and Hero right now actually have speed items. It's just all attacking items, and so with the finish line 400 meters away, there really isn't a lot of counterplay here to slow down Flare. ShowTime, they might be coming through, and that's going to be it. Flare crosses the finish line. Just really no speed items to be found by really, frankly, either team. As now ShowTime going to match point up 2-0 here against Aura in item mode.
Yeah, Hero tried to be that guy for Aura that's able to bring the match back, but the second he got targeted out by the water bomb, it was pretty much over because there was such a sizable lead for Flare. He was coming in exactly 4 seconds before C's in second place.
And there was such a long period of time where 2 racers for Team Aura were just so far away from Sensation. But, as you said, this is a 3-lapper, and it's a little bit of a longer 3-lapper at that, so there was a lot of time for our players on ShowTime to close the distance, and they were able to do it. And, so many attacks coming in by both teams, but ShowTime getting the better end of the trade. Aura just not having the tools in their belt to supplant them at the front of the pack. And now 1 track win away, 1 track loss away for Aura going to that ace match. We'll see if we're going to go there as we get ready to go on to map number 3, Factory Cogwheel Crush.
Getting a round number 3 match point for ShowTime here. Let's see if... let's not see.
Let's not see.
Let's go back, take a step back, and do some tech checkups.
Yeah, hopefully not another long delay here. It seems like there is a technical issue here for Team ShowTime.
Yeah, you can see that, today has been a pretty unfortunate day so far, but...
I think particularly for Team ShowTime too, right?
Yeah.
I don't think... I'm trying to recall, I don't think we had that many pauses in round number 1, and if we did, it wasn't a technical pause, it was something we wanted to check with the admins, which ended up being nothing, but hopefully we will be able to jump right back into map number 3 in a moment here.
It's good that it was caught early this time.
Yeah, that is nice.
But our players, man, ShowTime, they just have so much positive energy going on them, smiles all around. Feels like they're never losing focus.
Yeah, it's good to see. Aura's the same way, man. You look at this team, they're always smiling, always feeling good, even with delays like this. They don't mind it one bit. So we're waiting to receive word from our PDs on exactly what the issue is hopefully we will be able to jump back into this map. So the fingers continue to get poked in the faces, man. I feel like I'm behind. I feel like a boomer right now. I don't
I do
understand what
too.
these kids are doing.
Yeah, like I'm from the 2000 era, but even I'm starting to feel
Are you really from
behind.
the 2000 era?
Yeah,
oh my
I'm
goodness.
exactly 2000, but I don't know what the fingers are about.
Oh, I'm getting old. I'm 1992. My goodness.
We're all getting old.
Yeah, that is true. Every single one of us.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess we're going to be lifting off the keyboard here, so maybe the admin's going to take a look at exactly what is going on here with this PC as this situation will get resolved. Actually, potentially
like
swapping keyboards in with his teammate.
your keyboard is mine now.
All your keyboard are belong to us.
Yep. And honestly, I feel like it might be item mode where ShowTime has some momentum this time around against Aura, putting up already 2-0 record on the board, which is very surprising because last time against Seongnam Rocks, item mode is where they struggled, going only 1-3. So it would be a nice sight to see Aura being finally pushed to that ace match, which will be their first showing for both teams in the ace match.
Yeah, it would be really fun to get another ace match here, but you have to worry just a little bit whether these technical issues are causing some momentum problems here for Team ShowTime, because you just won track number 1, you won track number 2, both tracks in relatively convincing fashion as far as item mode goes, and you kind of just want to jump right back into that next map and keep this good vibe going, right?
Yeah.
All this momentum is behind you right now, and hopefully this won't take any of the wind out of their sails heading into map number 3, because I'm loving what we're seeing out of ShowTime. They showed a lot of potential in their first match of KDL Preseason 2 against Rocks, despite losing. It was a solid performance, and once again here against Aura, despite a 3-0 loss in speed mode, up with 2 wins right now in item. It's looking good for them.
Yeah, I feel like I'm seeing a trend here right now in Preseason 2. A lot of the teams that we consider to be really good at item mode are actually really faltering there right now. For instance, Liiv SANDBOX is a team that was highlighted as now having 2 item aces, with Jimin moving into the role of speed and also playing for the item mode while having another item mode ace, which is going to be Delta. But they ended up going 0-3 in item mode against Sensation, which is completely unexpected because Sensation, they did really poorly in item mode last season.
Well, I mean, this happens in basically every single game whenever there's a shakeup in meta, right? Where players or teams that are good at one thing, once that thing changes, it takes a while for you really to get that mojo back, and we'll see if these other teams are able to do it, because I mean, the maps are different here in KDL Preseason 2. We now have balloons that are getting added in, so attacks are a little bit different. On top of that, attack propagation overall is higher, the way that things have been shaking out so far in KDL, and there have also been changes to defensive items like the Angel Shield. It's not as good as it used to be. It now only blocks 1 attack, right? So there are a lot of adjustments that these players and teams have to make, and you have to think that as the season continues on, improvements will be made. These adjustments will be made. A lot of these teams that were excelling at item mode in KDL Preseason 1 will be able to regain their footing in KDL Preseason 2. But it does take time.
Yeah, this seems like on the side of ShowTime, we're running some tests to make sure that the games will go smoothly once we're in game. And I'm really impressed by the clicking speed through the menu interface. He was like, it took him 0.5 seconds to navigate the menu.
I mean,
that's impressive to me.
We interview our players before every season here in the KDL, and one of the questions that we often ask them is, how much do you actually play per day? How often do you practice? And for some people, it's a little bit less, but generally, the answer that we get, it's like, what, 6, 7, 8 hours, if not more. I mean, these are a lot of young kids. There's a lot of prize money, and at a young age, this is life-altering money here on the line, and so they're really giving it their all here, competing in the KDL. And I mean, you spend 8 hours a day playing any game, I guarantee you're going to navigate those menus like a madman.
Good point. But speaking of a bit less time for practice on some of these players, I was really surprised by a player like Scarlet from Seraphic saying that he only practices an hour per day for an average practice, and that's pretty unusual for me to hear.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical about that. I almost said I'm 10 years old. I've been in the esports industry for like, what, more than a decade now, and oftentimes I've seen players say that kind of thing where it's like, oh yeah, I don't practice. It's just natural skill. Like I don't really care. I don't put that much effort in. But then you actually get to know the guy, and it's like, no, you practice a lot. You practice like 8 hours a day, man. I don't know what you're talking about. I remember as a former StarCraft 2 pro gamer, I used to see that a bunch. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Scarlet was playing at least a little bit more than 1 hour per day,
Yeah, I guess it also changes depending on the games because for me, I come from a game called Summoner's War, which was my entry into the esports scene. And for me, I feel like I might have played even less than an hour in that game per day.
Really?
But I did still manage to be in like, the top 50 rankings usually. So,
Dang, what a gamer. That's impressive, man. I didn't know you were so good, Peter.
as they say, it's not about the quantity, sometimes it's about the quality.
Yeah, maybe Scarlet gets like 1 hour of really quality practice every day. He's like in a Dragon Ball Z time chamber or something, just getting ready for the KDL.
Yeah.
But guys, we're still trying to resolve this technical issue that we have right now for our players, and hopefully we'll get fixed shortly. As it always sucks whenever you have these delays like this, but I'm sure our admin team and our technical support team is working overtime to try and get this ready as soon as possible. So thank you for bearing with us. In the meantime, I mean, if you got some friends at home, get the word out. Go on those Discord servers, maybe get out on Twitter, get out on social media, tell them that KDL, it's happening. There's English broadcast coverage. We would love to get more eyes on this thing as, Kart Rider Drift, it's a great game and it just keeps getting better.
The esports scene is definitely packed and has such a huge history behind it. Been here for almost a decade now, so it is definitely a joy to be a part of it. And speaking of some of the joys about esports, I love looking into like the team dynamics. And one interesting thing for me about ShowTime is that every single player here is pretty much 2005 and 2006. And then there's only one player, Fran, from 1997. And I mentioned this guy as being like the leader of the team who's going to keep the youngsters in check. But so far, based on the camera shots, the youngsters, they're running pretty wild. They have so much personality on them, and I love it.
All right, well, I hear the music once again, Peter. I think it's finally time for us to get back into Factory Cogwheel Crush. As we repeat this, remember, match point. If Team ST is able to come away with a win, we will be going to an ace match. Let's get to it.
We're ready for the, once again, going into round 3 and seeing, once again, if ShowTime can close it off on Cogwheel Crush.
Yeah, hopefully no more technical issues here, as I would love to have all that behind us now as we're continuing on. And what a story it would be if ShowTime's able to pick up another map win here in item mode and sweep Aura in item mode, which was their forte in KDL Preseason 1, and force an ace match.
Yeah, and so far we're seeing Hero trying to take the lead again. It seems like it's in his DNA.
Yeah,
because even if he
true.
comes to item mode, Hero can't help but be in first place.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, man. In speed mode, he was in first place, at least 4 out of the 6 maps they've played so far, and now here in item mode doing much of the same thing, as Braun and Monster are going to try and close the distance a little bit here on the 2-lapper. That is Cogwheel Crush, and it's a very tight pack right here. Actually, a lot of racers able to get into that speed boost there in the middle. Some fortuitous timing for them as Hero, Fran, and taking a pull away from their pack just a little bit.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 2-lapper track, so our players are running out of time to make sure that their item inventory is how they want it to be with the huge water bomb.
That was a big water bomb. Got a lot of players right there as Hero just continuing to pull away. Actually has 2 shields. Does cycle 1 out there for an EMP, and another one, so perhaps dodging attacks right there is Hero. As we continue
that was
on.
really nice.
And although Hero right now is in first place with 2 shields, I'm liking ShowTime's position, man. FaZe, Flare, Monster, and Fran are all right behind him, actually all passing him. So Aura, they have their work cut out to try to close the distance. Picking up 2 nitrous will help a bit.
And right now it's FaZe leading the pack for ShowTime with double shield on him, so he's going to be able to absorb a lot of the aggro, but the UFO cannot be negated by the shield, so he's going to get caught out with the water bomb as well. Now it's Flare leading for ShowTime.
And getting closer and closer to that finish line are our racers right now. Flare in first place with a magnet and a shield, but a lot of players right behind him. And as opposed to the previous couple of tracks, oh, actually, wait, hold that thought. We have Monster and Tech both going here through the speed boost. Tech also does have a nitrous, so we'll see right now coming down the wire.
Oh,
300 meters to go.
He gets caught by the water bomb thrown by Tech, and now Tech is in the front. He's going to be able to speed right through with C's, taking an item win victory, tying up the board, or at least bringing it back 1-2.
Man, what a close finish there. I felt like either team really had a chance of winning it. So much chaos there right at the end, especially adding in that speed boost tunnel. I mean, just so much going on. Aura getting the better end of the trade, though. As they say, no ace match, at least not yet. Getting up on the board now, 2-1 in ShowTime's favor.
if Tech didn't land that water bomb there and I saw it hit it just at the edge, it could have been a much different story because Monster, he was looking really solid, building up that lead for himself. And I don't believe there was a much of a way for Aura to stop him in his tracks, if not for that crucial moment there. And of course, seems like at this point, ShowTime, they're starting to falter. You know, we thought maybe it's time for them in item mode to finally come back, but it's not looking good anymore.
And we'll see. Still only one map win away. Forcing that ace match, though, is Team ShowTime as we're getting ready to move on to round number 4 on Desert Sphinx's Riddle. Question we have to ask is whether ShowTime will solve the Sphinx's riddle and take us to that ace match here against Team Aura. Would love to see it. Would love to get a second ace match here.
Wow, 4-man water bomb, 5-man.
5-man water bomb. Takes me back to my my license days. Trying to time the water bomb against those AIs going down the highway. Never seen one get 4 like that. Good on them.
Yep, the
Big
water
hit.
bombs are coming in super clutch in this matchup here as we see C is leading the pack with a double shield. He's going to be able to absorb very much items with that. Now going for the EMP wave instead. Double EMP. Nice.
Yeah, a lot of EMPs here for Team Aura right now. He's holding on 2 of those, just like a 1 out. Actually, both is some UFOs were coming through.
And we're seeing double lightning being held by ShowTime right now, which is going to be mitigated by the double angel from Nox. So I want to see how these teams will be baiting out each other's items. This is a 3-lapper track, and we're currently in the middle part of it. We're seeing double magnets as well on each side.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see exactly how these teams decide to shake up their item inventories, because it does feel like, at least in KDL Preseason 2, it's a bit more complicated than KDL Preseason 1, where you would see so many racers that try to gun for the nitrous magnet combo, but it's a little bit more chaotic here in KDL Preseason 2, a little bit more complicated. There's more attacks now coming in. Rockets do get deflected there by shields. We're getting ready to go into lap number 3.
I feel like water bombs are especially effective. You know, it's kind of obvious, but when you can target out specifically your opponents only, and even like 2 or more of them, and I've seen that happen so many times when Aura threw their water bombs. Now it's Fran leading the pack, but Nox looking to get some of that momentum back.
Yeah, it's so close here at the front of the pack with so many players here, not only just for Team Aura, but also Sensation is continuing to trade hands. Does get the better end of that trade right there, though a UFO slows him down a bit. And now knocking the lead here for Team Aura. And looking at the inventories, we do have a lot of nitrous and magnets, but it's mostly at the back of the pack.
Yeah, it's looking really close right now. Nox, he does have an EMP wave to deter the magnet usage from Fran. Water bombs are being held as well, and it seems like it's not going to get thrown as Tech and Hero are in the front, securing a nice, clean win.
Yeah, that was very clean there from Aura, man. With the item setup that we had, I was expecting a little bit more chaos, but Tech and Hero just able to finish it out 1-2 there, as we're going to go to the final match of item mode, all tied up 2-2.
Yep, it seems like it's not going to be easy for ShowTime to go to ace match. As much as we, the fans, would love to see it, you know, if you're an Aura fan, you don't want to see it, right? You'd rather get a clean win.
Or you might be an Aura fan that wants to see them win an ace match. You know,
but that's
it takes all
risky.
kinds. It is risky, but it's exciting. Risk is exciting, man.
Well, I guess it depends on what kind of fan you are in that sense. And I know that you're the type that loves excitement. And to be honest, I do too. So it is in my hopes that ShowTime will be able to have a comeback in round 5.
Yeah, we'll see. It does feel like that technical delay did maybe take a little bit of the wind out of their sails. They were looking so good in track number 1 and track number 2, but since then, Aura just been able to pull it back with some really clean wins. Just love watching Hero walk away with this one in first place, is just able to deliver yet another victory here for his team, as we're going to be going to the decider map in just a moment here, Peter.
Yeah, and I really liked how the replay was once again emphasizing the usage of the water bomb there, because water bombs definitely have been more impactful coming into Preseason 2 compared to the previous one. And I feel like Tech, he's definitely been a player who has shown great usage of that, and it's up to ShowTime to start being more aware of things like that.
Yep, and it looks like we're getting ready to go into the final track here of item mode. The winner will either force an ace match or win the set on Village Clock Tower Crossing.
In we go to the final round, the deciding match. If ShowTime wins this one, we go to an ace match. If Aura wins, it's a clean 2-0 sweep for them.
Yeah, Aura would love to continue to add on to their fantastic start here in KDL Preseason with yet another win, avoiding an ace match. With Season Tech right now leading the charge, Flare and Monster right behind him, Braun as well, as we have a 3-lapper here on Village Clock Tower Crossing. Beautiful village, too. I mean, just look at these picturesque houses. Love that clock tower.
Yep.
Gorgeous.
There's also sheeps, you know, the animal diversity is really here, but Hero, he's gonna get knocked down really far, and I'm sure he'll be able to recover if he picks himself up a magnet, as Flare does right now. And we're going into second lap. Monster holding a shield. Let's see what aggro he can absorb.
And I like that magnet there from Flare, getting a little bit of momentum, getting closer to the front of the pack. Ooh, nice shield there by Monster, too, avoiding the water bomb as he's going to continue to pull away from Knock, Tech, and Seize.
Oh, Tech gonna get knocked out there, spinning out of control. Now it's all up to Knock in the front for Aura, looking really scary because he's being followed up by 3 members of ShowTime. 2 of them gonna get knocked out by the water bomb.
Yeah, the Water Wisp coming through will take a lot of momentum there from Knock, and ooh, that's not what you want to happen. Is now Aura in a commanding position, Tech, Seize, and Hero all leading the pack. Monster's right behind him, though, with the Water Wisp. He's trying to close the distance. Hero with some fantastic body blocking, doing everything in his power. It feels like we're seeing a sweeper here.
Yeah, he absolutely maximized the role of sweeper in that tight little corner there. Now, Monster gonna get targeted by the Water Wisp, so it seems like Tech, he's super far away right now. FaZe, he needs to catch up.
Yeah, FaZe and Flare, they're trying everything in their power to close the distance, but not picking up any speed items right here. Just attacks is going to make it tough. Now, the Water Wisp will come through, but Tech does have a shield. He pops that now. So was able to deflect one of those. The rockets do hit him, though, so he is spinning out. 400 meters left to go. Tech just barely ahead. No speed items. We found, but another Water Wisp comes through, and FaZe might be forcing an ace match.
My goodness, I was thinking Tech is just gonna take this one, but the Water Wisp was there when there was no shield available for Tech, and it's gonna be ShowTime who takes item round 5, and we are gonna have an ace match, the first showing for both teams in Preseason 2. I am really excited for this one, State.
Oh man, what a fantastic day of Kart Rider Drift action it has been. 2 team matches so far, 2 ace matches, as we're going to have the underdogs ShowTime going up against Aura in a winner-takes-all 1v1 here. Fantastic play from them there on Clock Tower Crossing.
You can see Fran, he looked really happy there, being able to deliver his team that win in item mode as the item ace. And now, I wonder who's going to be the ace match player for ShowTime. I feel like Ghost would have to be the right bet because he is the runner for the team. But at the same time, I feel like Monster has had way more consistent performances so far in the season when it came to that runner role. So a lot to discuss here.
Yeah, and you can see the team all huddled around trying to figure out exactly who it is going to be. For Aura, I gotta think that it's going to be Looting, the speed ace here for their team that will be the pick, but we'll wait and see. Oh, getting ready to figure out exactly what the map is going to be.
You think it's going to be Looting for Aura?
I think so, yeah.
Not Hero, despite his heroic performance?
It could be Hero. I mean, certainly either one of them, but I mean, Looting now coming in as a speed ace here for Aura, previously on Reboot. I feel like, I mean, if I'm Aura, if I'm their coaching staff, if I'm their players, I want to give Looting an opportunity to really, you know, prove himself in that role as speed ace here in the first ace match of the season. But I mean, you're right, Hero, he has been racing fantastically so far, and we'll have to see what the choice is going to be.
Yeah, well, you can see they're really taking their time to discuss this one through. The coaches are basically asking right now, who wants to be the one to put themselves up on this insanely high pressure situation? And with it comes a lot of honor if you bring the win for your team, but at the same time, it must feel crushing to be that player who could have won it all but ended up losing because they made a mistake in one of their lines.
That's a lot of responsibility, especially for a rookie team such as ShowTime. You know, one set win over a team like Aura could be the difference between eventually going to the postseason or not. So there is a lot, you know, on the line here for these guys, and you got to think that they're going to put a lot of time into considering exactly who it is going to be.
Yeah, and it seemed like Fran was in the back there putting a lot of confidence in the youngsters there, saying, you guys can do it, don't worry, you know, even if you lose, it's okay, as long as you play your heart out and make sure that, you know, you're satisfied with your own performance.
Of course.
That's all that matters. You know, those encouraging words are what the rookies in ShowTime need right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always tough as a rookie coming onto the big stage here at the KDL. Of course, we have a live audience here. There's a big esports scene in Korea for these teams, for these fans. It's a lot of pressure, and we'll see what the map is going to be. Ooh, Construction Chaos, okay.
You know,
that's going to be an exciting one, Peter.
This is a track where if you fall behind, it's going to be really hard. Like, as the track says, it's chaotic. There's especially that one part of the track where a lot of players end up faltering and losing their momentum, because if you're not able to weave around the corners with perfection, you end up losing a lot of your own line as a result.
That's a complicated track for sure, but in a 1v1, it could be more complicated and less complicated, right? Because there's less bodies you got to worry about. And actually, yeah, it is going to be Ghost versus Looning here. Our players have been chosen here on Construction Chaos. Winner takes all here in the ace match for the second time today. I could not be more excited to get into this one.
You call it state. Looning is the man for Aura here, and I'm hoping that he's able to prove why he was chosen over Hero, who's had such a stellar performance as a runner. On the other side, Ghost, I feel like he's been really struggling to show up in team speed matches, so it's finally his time to show up that, you know, this is why I am the runner of ShowTime. I can beat a great player like Looning in the ace match. You know, he needs to prove himself now.
Yeah, the potential is there. This is a great opportunity for him to prove himself against the newly chosen speed ace here for Team Aura. And Looning is another one of those players that, you know, just really in KDL Preseason 1 solidified himself as one of the best runners, one of the best speed aces in the game. So a victory here for ShowTime would give them heaps of confidence moving in to the rest of KDL Preseason 2. But you can see the tension on both of their faces. A lot on the line here for these teams. Neither wants to walk away with a loss.
Yeah, and it seems like Ghost, you know, one of his most confident tracks are mind-winding slopes, which I feel like if you're good at winding slopes, you got to be good at Construction Chaos. So I trust in Ghost here to be able to have a really good first showing. And he is now in his initial seat, so he's just going through his settings right now to make sure that, you know, his gameplay won't be affected.
Yeah, just got to make sure those settings are right. Got to make sure you have everything ready. Our players getting ready to go into this race themselves, and with a delay like this, you know, getting the settings ready just kind of adds to the tension too, right? You got to think that the pressure is mounting here for this rookie. He knows the show is waiting for him to get his settings ready. He knows that his team's hopes and dreams in this tournament, a lot of it comes down to a match like this.
Yeah.
As I said before, I mean, one set win over a team as talented as Aura could eventually be the difference maker for ShowTime making the postseason or not later on in the preseason. So hopefully from Ghost, he's going to be able to collect himself, allow his teammates to rally behind him with love and support, as you mentioned, and give a good showing here.
I hate it when that happens, when you take off the headset and your glasses come off.
I'm an earbud user, so I don't have this problem at home.
I used to be one too, but recently I moved over to speaker.
Speakers! Yeah, that's how I can tell you're not that serious a gamer. You gotta get the spatial surround, man. You gotta know exactly what's where. I can never do that with speakers, but maybe you got those big surround sound setups. I don't know your home.
Yeah, but now we are getting ready to enter our ace match between Ghost and Looning in Desert Construction Chaos.
And here we go on Desert Construction Chaos. Winner takes all between Looning and Ghost. Team Aura versus Team ShowTime. The established veterans versus the rookies. Who will emerge victorious? Right now, Looning off to a great start.
Yeah, and I saw Looning doing a lot of cuts there to build more of a booster gauge, but so far, Ghost is leading in the gauge right now slightly, so as long as he can get back into the draft range, I'm sure he'll be able to catch up no problem.
Yeah, taking very similar lines there, both of these racers, and that slightly better nitrous gauge here for Ghost, as you said, if he's able to maintain distance, striking distance from Looning, and draft and time out these nitruses, it could be him coming through with a really clutch timing, whether it be on a corner, on a straightaway, to take that first place position.
But that's not happening so far.
Oh my
Looning,
goodness.
he was able to get a great block off there, stopping his own momentum, but completely killed Ghost as well in the meantime. Now Ghost looking for the inner, trying to overtake, but he bumps into Looning, and he does seem to make it across.
Yeah, Ghost able to pull into first place right now. Looning going to try and contest that here as we enter lap number 2. Neck and neck are both of these racers. Nitrous gauges very close now, almost completely mirrored. Looning actually taking a slight edge.
Yeah, and right now Ghost, once again, he's looking for the way to pass, but Looning with the fantastic blocks is there to check him each time.
Yeah, Looning just zoning Ghost out perfectly right now, and that's so difficult to do as the leading racer. You see Ghost now going for the outer line. We'll see if Looting's able to fight back, trying to find an angle of his own, but now Ghost with the body blocks.
Yeah, and this is going to be the trickiest part of Construction Chaos, where it could go either way. Last time we've seen Looning come to a complete stop in the line of Ghost, but it's Ghost right now looking for the outer.
Yeah, Ghost able to find that angle and get back in, but it's neck and neck right now, Peter, between these two racers. Ghost right now in first place. His teammates gotta be on the edge of their seat. They want their teammate to go in. Fantastic blocking there for Ghost.
Yeah, now Looning is really far behind. He needs to catch up because the race is going to end soon. He wants to get that draft range, and in fact, he does. And a fantastic block onto Ghost there. Now Looning with the humongous lead.
Yeah, Looning with a humongous lead and just enough momentum to carry him across the finish line. And Team Aura is going to beat your victors here by just a fraction of a second. Looning taking the victory over Ghost. But what a great showing here for Team ShowTime. Yes, they get the loss, but that was a back and forth battle there in the ace match. And I mean, this has got to be a kind of series where you could feel a little bit more confident here.
Yeah, this was a second team showing of the day, and both matches have gone all the way through to the ace match, and it was Aura this time taking that win. Looning came in super clutch. It was a 0.1 second difference that separated them, and I want to give props to Ghost here as well. As we see Looning, he's feeling good about his victory there, posing for the camera, but as I was saying, Ghost put up a really good fight, and I feel like it could have easily gone in his favor if, you know, he had the better draft times.
Yeah, that was so close right there at the end, and I really thought up until we had Looning go through with that jump that it was going to be ShowTime running away with it, but instead it's going to be Aura, after a 3-2 defeat in item mode, able to secure the win in ace match by, as you said, a 1/10 of a second, really coming down to the wire. And you know, all the Kartrider fans watching from home have been treated to some fantastic shows today, because I mean, Sungmin versus Minshik was the same story. I think, again, about a 1/10 of a second separating those two racers in ace. So just really fantastic stuff so far today, and I love the performance that we saw out of ShowTime as well.
Yeah, every single rookie team today, they showed up. Even a team like in the previous match, Seraphic, who went down 0-6 against Aura, they were able to go all the way to ace match. So it just makes you more excited for the potential of all these rookie teams. I feel like in preseason 1, there was a rather clear difference between the top 4 teams and the top 4 or the bottom 4 teams. But this time around, I can't really put up a clear top 4.
Yeah, it's a little bit more tough to call. It feels like, you know, perhaps it's the patch changes, it's the changes to cart sizes, it's the changes of the meta, but things have shaken up quite a bit here in the KDL preseason. As it feels like these established teams, the pro teams and the veteran teams, they're showing that they can be immortal. And these rookie teams, they're really showing up. I mean, they haven't been able to come through with any big upsets so far, but their performance has been good.
Yeah, and I feel like that's really important for the health of esports, the rookie revolution, because if you have the pro teams that have already proven themselves constantly picking up more and more wins, it can become really easy to predict the matches. And at that point, it's like, at that point, you could even say, why are you watching, unless you really like the process of getting those wins, right? And I feel like now with rookies showing up, that they can actually take down some of these giants, it just makes you want to watch these matches fully and through and just be on that story alongside these teams.
I mean, the fact that both our rookie teams in the first 2 matches today went down to the wire to an ace match against Aura and the KWANGDONGFREECS is just incredible stuff. And
yep.
I love what we're seeing out of these rookie teams. I love how competitive they are, especially considering for a lot of these guys it's their first time here on stage at the KDL. coming on and giving a good performance. It's just really thrilling to see. So fantastic stuff so far. Keep in mind, we do have another team match at the end of today. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great one. Stick around to see some Liiv SANDBOX and potential action.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the KDL. We are getting ready to go into the final team match of the night. Potential versus Liiv SANDBOX. It has been a great day of KDL action so far. 2 matches, both going to their ace matches, and now what I think honestly might be the highlight of today with a new roster of Liiv SANDBOX coming against potential up-and-coming team with a lot of talent, a lot of heart. Banana, Taman on this roster, Summer the speed ace, Wave and Best as well. Lots to look out for.
Potential was definitely the team that has impressed me the most so far in Preseason 2 as far as rookie teams go, and you know, players like Banana coming in from Finale alongside some more players. I love to see that they're able to find better success this time around in this new roster.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of chance here for this team to put in a good showing and live up to their name as having potential, because, you know, with the item ace of Banana and also Taman, the hybrid player, both coming in from Finale, they're looking really strong. And this team as well, Liiv SANDBOX, the man himself, Neil coming out first, as well as, you know, Jimin, Hyunsu, Byungsu, and Dalda. Byungsu, unfortunately, not able to compete today. He is out with COVID, so Neil will be running with a 4-man roster today. But it should be an exciting match, man. I mean, Liiv SANDBOX losing 2 of their star players, had a completely re-kit coming into this season, and so they added in Byungsu, they added in Dalda, and it does take a while for a new team to really start to mesh together and exceed expectations, right? But I feel like for Liiv SANDBOX, it's gonna happen sooner rather than later. I mean, there's so much talent on this team from top to bottom.
Yeah, especially Potential, you know, as our producers are calling it out, they did go neck and neck against the defending champion, so there's a lot of expectations on the side of Potential, and one unfortunate thing for them is that they're having to go against KWANGDONGFREECS and then Liiv SANDBOX, and they're saying to Liiv SANDBOX, we've had a taste of the defending champions, now it's time for the runner-up.
Yeah, I mean, you say it's a bad thing, but considering how well they did against the Freaks, I mean, they did lose, but it was a good showing. It was a competitive series. I feel like you come in, you have a good set against the Freaks, and then you play against Liiv SANDBOX and say they do well against today. Say they even beat Liiv SANDBOX today, come through with an upset. I mean, that is the best possible start to your season, I gotta say, because you get the 2 top dogs from KDL Preseason 1 out, right out of the gates, and we'll see what they're able to do.
For sure, and Liiv SANDBOX, they have been known as the Invincible Fleet, and right now, they need to show up with Dalda here having his first debut in the speed mode as far as KDL goes, and Liiv SANDBOX saying, we will look forward to Potential's potential, you know, playing a little bit of game on the words because their team name is really special.
Yeah, it is, and I think for Liiv SANDBOX here, not having Byungsu, having him out sick today is going to hurt a little bit because he is the new speed ace on this team, formerly Sensation Speed, but one of the proteges of the Emperor himself. And so not having him here against Potential, which is a team that looks to be really strong, is going to hurt. But you know, maybe that will even the odds a little bit here. We might have a very competitive match, Peter.
Yeah, and the speed track list is here. I'm not too surprised to see Terracotta Twister and Glacier Extreme Stadium being picked up by Liiv SANDBOX because those are tracks that they've played so many times in Preseason 1 and they've never shied away from them necessarily, whereas Potential, they're bringing back the Village Boomhill Tunnel along with Mine Winding Slopes. Winding Slopes definitely a really popular pick in Preseason 2 as well. Yeah,
it does feel that way. I feel like we're seeing it almost every single series here, Mine Winding Slopes. And especially the rookie teams seem to very much favor that map. As we'll round things out on World Tour New York Rally, should we go to a round 5?
Yeah, and the Cheerful said Potential can do it, and I'm sure the fans are looking forward to seeing a great performance from them today into Liiv SANDBOX after they had a really great one in KWANGDONGFREECS, now in World Tour Terracotta Twister, they will challenge the SANDBOX.
All right, here we go. Round number 1 between Potential and Liiv SANDBOX. Who will win the final team match of the night? Liiv SANDBOX already off to a great start with Neil and Hyunsu commanding in position in top 3. Summer, Speed Ace here, Potential right behind them, actually pulling ahead into first place now.
This is looking really good for Potential. There's Summer, Best, and Temin. And right now, they do have a massive positional lead with Hyunsu taking first place. However, it does put Liiv SANDBOX back on the board. You see Jiminy speeding in. Now they have control over 1, 3, 4.
Yeah, nice control here for Liiv SANDBOX, holding most of the front of the pack as we enter the tomb section here of Terracotta Twister. A little bit of a collision there. No one yet falling in to the pits. As actually Hyunsu, he took a little bit too he took a corner a little bit too tight right there. It wasn't even a collision, and he's gonna fall off. He was leading the race, now dropping all the way into 8th place, and this is a lot of added pressure here for Liiv SANDBOX's Neil and Jimin as they're gonna try and consolidate and hold on to this 1-2 finish with Dalda and Hyunsu so far at the bottom of the pack.
Jimin knows his role right now is not even to sweep until Best gets close, and now it might be that time. Jimin, he's trying to keep up with Neil for that 1-2, but of course Best and Summer, they're not too far behind.
Yeah, Best and Summer are going to do everything in their power to close the distance because Dalda and Hyunsu right now at rank 6 and 7. That is not where they want to be, but credit to Neil and Jimin, man. They are doing a fantastic job of not giving any ground to Summer and Best.
Dalda and Hyunsu are far behind, but as you said, as long as 1-2 is there, that is the winning condition. So Summer, he needs to take the tighter lines here to try to catch up, but Jimin and Neil also took them incredibly tight lines. Jimin trying to block out Summer.
Summer able to work his way into 2nd place, but Hyunsu and Dalda were able to move up to 5th and 6th. So even if Summer holds on to 2nd, this might be a win here for Liiv SANDBOX. Neil's gonna cross first, and Jimin as well. So actually will be a 1-2 finish at the end of the day, but I gotta say, Liiv SANDBOX, they didn't even need it with the incredible recovery from Hyunsu and Dalda there, finishing in 5th and 6th, and what was a really scary situation after Hyunsu fell in the tomb section of Terracotta Twister still translates into a win here for Liiv SANDBOX.
That's the strength of having an all-star lineup because even if one player messes up, you have so many other players there to make sure that they're now taking your position as a runner. And that's exactly what Neil and Jimin were able to replicate. Jimin being a player that has been extremely highlighted in Preseason 1 because he was the item ace for Liiv SANDBOX, but when he was stepping in for Seungha, he was actually able to pull off really good performance in speed mode. And once again, in Preseason 2, he's been doing just that, doing really well in both speed and item.
Yeah, Jimin, if I'm not mistaken, also did quite well in solo speed too in KDL Preseason 1. So despite being, you know, an item ace on paper, now he is a hybrid player for Liiv SANDBOX, and for good reason, because he does have a lot of skill here in speed mode. You know, we saw it in KDL Preseason 1 when he was needed. We're seeing it here in KDL Preseason 2 with them selecting him as a hybrid player. And we'll see if that momentum can continue to carry on here as Liiv SANDBOX is up 1-0 against Potential here, moving on to Village Boom Hill Tunnel.
Start the race off and Potential's pick of track. Let's see if they can tie up the board 1-1.
Yeah, off to a good start right now is Best leading the pack, but there are so many Liiv SANDBOX players right behind him. You see Neil, look at his chops. He wants to get that first place position. He does it. He does supplant Best there. That went first, and for Liiv SANDBOX, this is a pretty good spot, except Jimin and Dalda, I don't like them holding all the way off there in 7th and 8th place.
There's a lot more pressure now on Neil and Hyunsu to not make any mistakes, and it's going to be Summer now coming into the line, trying to surpass Hyunsu so that he can apply more pressure to Neil.
Yeah, Neil is able to take first place back. Hyunsu going to try and fight and support his teammate here in the top 2, and he is able to do it right now. That is a win condition with Neil and Hyunsu both in 1-2 positions here. Jimin closing the distance will try to create problems. 14 Potential in the middle ranks. But so far,
Summer, he tried to go for that build, but so did Neil and Hyunsu. They're so far ahead right now, holding that 1-2 so steadily for Liiv SANDBOX. This might be the corner where Summer goes for a body block, try to throw off the line of Neil or Hyunsu, but look at them, they're so formidable.
Yeah, they are such a great duo right now, but Summer, if he's able to close the distance, might be able to put this one into grasp for Potential, but no. Neil and Hyunsu, Liiv SANDBOX once again with a 1-2 finish, able to come through in the clutch in a very fast race. I mean, Neil just racing out of his mind right now here today. Fantastic performance from him, and Liiv SANDBOX really showing up.
Absolutely, Neil. He's been the MVP of the 2 rounds we played so far in Speed, and it's no surprise because last weekend he went up against Hojin in an ace match that was incredibly close, which was a great way to check the form of Neil in Preseason 2, and we can see that the meta, it hasn't affected him at all. If anything, it's only favoring him more right now.
Yeah, and keep in mind that Potential, you know, this opening weekend when they played against the KWANGDONGFREECS in Speed Mode, KWANGDONGFREECS notably the best Speed Mode team in KDL Preseason 1, that went all the way to round number 5. It was a 3-2 finish there, barely favoring the KWANGDONGFREECS. And so for Liiv SANDBOX right now to be up 2-0 in what felt like relatively commanding fashion here against Potential, it's looking really good for their team.
It's honestly looking like a repeat right now where for teams going against Aura, you had to make sure that Hero is not in that first place with a dominant lead because of the fact that he's always going to have such stable supports around. And this time around for Liiv SANDBOX, it was Neil in that runner position. And it seems like, you know, the supportive role can be played by any of the players on the side of Liiv SANDBOX. This time it was Hyunsu.
Yeah, they're reminiscent of the KWANGDONGFREECS in that way. They're just so good at all supporting each other, sweeping when they need to, running when they need to, and Liiv SANDBOX coming in with 2 very clean wins to start things off here in Speed Mode as we're now on match point, getting ready to go into Glacier Extreme Stadium. Liiv SANDBOX versus Potential. You can see Potential feeling a little bit of pressure right now.
Yeah, but hopefully they're able to find an answer to this dominance from Liiv SANDBOX in track number 3, Glacier Extreme Stadium. If Potential loses this one, it's Liiv SANDBOX who's going to be taking the set win in Speed. So now we're hoping for Summer and Temin to maintain that 1-3-4.
Yeah, we will see if they are able to do it, as Liiv SANDBOX has been really showing up in Speed Mode so far today right now. Hyunsu very close to first place position. Neil in 4th right now. Would not be surprised to see him quickly work his way up the ranks as we're starting to come through on this long turn here. Summer holding on to that first place position for now. Taemin, you can see him trying to cause trouble. Nice block there. Zoning out Jimin and also Neil just a little bit as PO. This is some nice play. Summer's been able to get a lot of breathing room.
Yeah, but Neil and Jimin now, they did manage to break through the defense, so they're going to be applying pressure on Summer soon. It's up to Wave to try to block out at least Neil so that Summer can maintain this massive lead. But it's 2-3-4 now being held by Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, there are so many Liiv SANDBOX players right behind Summer, and 2-3-4, keep in mind, is a win condition here. So even if Liiv SANDBOX isn't able to gain too much ground, as long as they're able to maintain that position, they will be in a winning stance. But you can see Neil just gunning for that rank 1 spot as we get a picture-in-picture here and see how tight it is here at the front of the race. Summer still holding on. Neil just takes that inner line for a moment, able to pass him. Wave continuing to try and cause collisions. Some really nice sweeping from him so far in this track.
But the problem right now is Neil, he's been steadily holding that 2nd place. It's buying a lot of time for the players of Liiv SANDBOX to catch up. We have Dalda in 7th place. If he manages to beat Best, it could spell trouble for Potential.
Oh, and Neil's able to work his way into 1st place, and now we'll see him take these really tight inner lines.
Whoa!
Able to cut off Summer. Neil's in 1st. Hyunsu is in 2nd, right behind him. We might have another 1-2 finish here for Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, Neil won that line check against Summer, and in that moment was when momentum was lost for Potential. Another dominating 1-2 finish here for Liiv SANDBOX on the back of Neil. Neil's performance is through the roof today.
Yeah, just fantastic stuff from Liiv SANDBOX. Back-to-back-to-back 1-2 finishes to secure the Speed Mode sweep here over Team Potential, who were able to take the Freaks just a couple of days ago all the way to map number 5 in Speed Mode. So loving what we're seeing out of Liiv SANDBOX so far. A much stronger performance from them here today than we saw in the opening weekend.
You know, one thing that Liiv SANDBOX has going is that also against Sensation, they went 3-0 in Speed. So far, they're seeming to be one of the most dominant teams for that team Speed Mode, along with Aura. And I can't really blame Potential for crumbling today. The performance of Neil is the likes of where any team would have struggled to take that 1-2 away from Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, Neil is just one of the fastest players in the world. It doesn't matter what mode you throw him in, whether it be in team speed mode and solo speed mode. He is just one of the best. They call him the genius for a reason. His builds are impeccable, and he always seems to find the right line and the right moment to pass whoever he needs to pass. And now he's going to be swapped out, or actually, no, excuse me, not swapped out because they're running a 4-man roster today. That's right. We're going to see Neil in item mode, actually, as we get a look at the item track list.
That does spell concern for me personally,
Yeah,
State.
I forgot about that for a moment.
Because communication is really important, and I know that Neil is practicing Korean very hard, but he's not a native, so let's see what happens there as Potential. They did manage to bring in Glacier Shark's Wake, which you mentioned you want to see, State.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. It's a very fun-looking map, man. I enjoyed watching you guys cast it there on the opening weekend, so excited to see a little bit more of it here today. And that will be followed by Pharaoh's Pass, Glacier Polar Halfpipe, Village, Clock Tower Crossing, and Village Town Hall. So a couple simpler maps to round things out if we do go to a round 4 or round 5. And yeah, we're gonna see Neil in item mode. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
And Potential, they're banning out both the tracks from the mine selection. Definitely does not want to be in that mine at all. Liiv SANDBOX. I like the ban on Factory Cogwheel Crush because I do feel like that track does has its fair share of volatilities. And London Knight, this is an interesting one because some teams really want to ban this one in item track, but sometimes they actually end up picking it too.
Yeah, it's one of those maps that's kind of hard to judge whether you want to play on it or not because it is relatively straightforward as far as item tracks go. There aren't too many tricks you can really have up your sleeves. It's not really a map that anyone team is going to excel on, but that's neither here nor there as we're going to go to track number 1 on Glacier Shark's Wake. And here we go, kicking off item mode between Liiv SANDBOX and Potential. Liiv SANDBOX with the 3-0 sweep in speed. We'll see if they can continue to carry that momentum here in item mode.
And we see right now Dalta and Jimin, they're looking pretty good with their inventory. They did manage to pick up a lot of items, and those two players are highlighted on Liiv SANDBOX because Jimin was the previous item ace and Dalta is the new item ace. Whoa! Huge water bomb.
Big water bomb coming in, and a lot of Korean fans were saying that because of the addition of Dalda, it's going to be a much stronger Liiv SANDBOX here in item mode when they were already quite strong in item mode in Season 1. And although they do have Neil playing here, and so the communication might not be as good as it normally would be amongst this team. I mean, Neil, he's still a fantastic player. His gut instinct, it's going to be right more often than not. And in typical Neil speed fashion, he's pulling away from the pack right now, regardless of it being in item mode.
Yeah, Neil's form is absolutely at the top of the mountain peak right now as we see Banana trying to catch up. He has a shield there to absorb the aggro now. He's holding on to a lightning as well as a water bomb. Will he land it on Neil?
We'll see. Lightning does pop. Shield actually able to deflect that, so that's very nice there for Neil. Still about 100 meters away from Banana. The item ace coming over from Finale onto Team Potential, as well as his former teammate Taman, excuse me. Yep. Joining the ranks here, and so Potential, I mean, they do have a lot of game knowledge here in item mode. They have a lot of skill, specifically in this mode, saved. We'll see if they're able to leverage that here as we enter lap number 3. UFO abducting Neil there for a moment, wave spitting out.
I love that usage of UFO because Neil had double shields, but obviously it made them worthless as another huge water bomb absolutely decimates the front of the pack.
Yeah, look at how dense this field is right now. It feels like everyone is on the same screen, which is a rare sight here in item mode as the finish line now only 400 meters away. A lot of nitrous in the bank. Taman actually with a nitrous and a magnet could be clutch here for PEO, but he falls all the way to 7th place, and it's actually going to be Dalda with the Angel shield guarding him, who worked his way into first. Jimin right behind him. Liiv SANDBOX winning track number 1 here in item mode. Commanding performance from them so far today.
And you can see the wide smile on Dalda's face. I was watching him in speed, and he wasn't doing very well there, to be frank. It was mostly Neil carrying. But here in item mode, finally, it's Dalda who brings his team that victory himself. Coming in with Jimin as the second, really just showing how on point they were on this Glacier Sharks wake, which was a track picked by even Potential. So that must crumble some of that confidence right now.
Yeah, being able to win on your opponent's map pick feels good all the time here in KDL, and especially with Liiv SANDBOX not with their full roster here today. They're going to be even more happy to have that one here in item mode. Is a clean win. Dalton, I mean, it's about as wide as the gap usually gets in item mode. Maybe a second between him and the following player there for Team Potential, as Liiv SANDBOX, a lot of momentum behind him right now, a lot of wind in their sails. We'll see if they can keep it up.
I like this one. It's saying, hey, you, don't lose your confidence. You know, kind of a botched translation. It's maybe a little bit more funny in Korean, but that's the main point of it.
Love having so many fans show up here, even on a Wednesday, on a weekday. Usually it's the weekends where we completely sell out here at the FREECS studio. And man, it's so good to see. And even more intense eye contact, man.
I'm loving these eye contacts. They're extra special in preseason too.
It does seem like the meta, man. Eye contact and finger pointing. I don't know what it is about preseason 2, but we're seeing a lot of it as we are getting ready to go into track number 2, Liiv SANDBOX versus Team Potential. Liiv SANDBOX 2 track wins away from sweeping this series. Here we go on Desert Pharaoh's Pass.
We begin a race and track of choice from Liiv SANDBOX. Let's see if Potential can return the favor and win on their opponent's track.
I would love to see it here for Potential, as they showed a lot of skill against the FREECS on the opening weekend, and Liiv SANDBOX just kind of giving it to him right now. In dominating fashion. Jimin item ace here, former item ace for Liiv SANDBOX. Right there in the front of the pack, does fall back. Hyunsu now in first place, blocking a lot of attacks there with those shields.
Really good usage there, as you said, Stain. Now it's Banana up in the front with the shield himself. This is a 3-lap for track, so we're gonna have a lot of times to adjust the rankings, but UFO being held by Jimin, that is going to be pretty big because Potential doesn't have an EMP wave in the front.
Yeah, that's a good note. EMP right now, Potential Banana does pick one up, and Neil actually holding on to 2 of them. Does cycle one out for his shield here as he goes through these items. Taemin, the lone player here for PO, trying to close the distance on Neil. He was getting blocked for a long time, and then does get hit by attack, so now it's going to be Summer actually trying to close the distance. And the water balloon actually hits Neil, but hits Summer as well.
Yeah. That was some really intense action happening in the front, but it doesn't change the fact that 1-2 is being held by Liiv SANDBOX.
Wave actually got hit by Banana there. Don't see that too often here at the pro level, but it does still happen.
Yeah, they do dodge the bananas pretty well, but they can't dodge the spins from the missiles. Taemin gonna get thrown completely out of line, and now you have to wonder, where is Neil? Only Wave is in close enough distance.
Yeah, Neil just wants to go fast, man. That is his life. He loves speed, and he's trying to go as much as he can. So many good water balloons so far in this series, I gotta say.
Yeah, that was almost gonna really solidify the lead for Jimin, but it's now Wave and Summer leading the pack for Potential. And you can see the way they're lined up. They're really trying to block the lines of their opponents. Not only that, but prevent them from grabbing the item boxes.
Yeah, and right now, Wave and Banana are leading the pack, but keep in mind, Jimin with 2 magnets, and Dalton also with a magnet and a nitrous there. There's a lot of power here at Liiv SANDBOX's item roster. 300 meters away, Banana and Taemin leading the charge. Actually, it might be PO who does walk away with it despite all those speed items there for Liiv SANDBOX. As you see Banana breathe a sigh of relief. He knew how close that one was going to be right there at the finish, but PO does get on the board, tying things up 1-1 here in item mode.
Taemin was so huge there. The second he entered the camera frame, you can see that all he was set out to do was sweeping, and that's exactly what he did in the most crazy fashion I've ever seen. He just shot in like a bolt of lightning and completely blocked out the momentum from Liiv SANDBOX.
Fantastic play there from Taemin, and really good teamwork by Potential. And this is what happens when you bring in one of the coolest and one of the best item aces in the business. Banana coming onto their roster here from Team Finale. It's just so good here for Potential. And Liiv SANDBOX bleeding a little bit here in item mode, tied up 1-1. The best of 5 turns into a best of 3 as both teams now only 2 map wins away.
Liiv SANDBOX, they did crumble against Sensation last week in item mode. Let's see if Potential can repeat that happening in Glacier Polar Halfpipe.
we go on Glacier Polar Halfpipe. The Penguins are dancing in the distance as our racers are off here. Wave off to a very good start as well as Neil and Hyunsu.
Yep, and it's been a while since we've been on Glacier Polar Halfpipe. I know this is a very well-loved track 40 item mode. As we see now, Hyunsu is going to get stopped out of track before the jump-off happens. Taemin, he just completely dies off that one.
Taemin actually following off the track, but we'll be able to get a lot of attack items at least for consolidation there, as you know we did have those respec a little bit there with the patch. And Neil right now sitting at 7th place, actually slowing down a lot, trying to play a little bit more support here, not going quite as fast. We'll see what his water balloon's able to connect with. Actually didn't get a shot of it as Dalton, ooh, clutch timing there on the shield.
That was a really good reaction time, but now Hyunsu's going to get caught off guard. Now it's Taemin leading the pack. A lot of players in the middle field are getting completely swept off. Now it's Dalda bringing some of that momentum back.
Dalda's doing a good job of pulling away from the pack with Hyunsu right behind him, but mind this is a 3-lapper, so there is a lot of track left to be played as the slow racers here, a lot of players spitting out as these attacks just continue to come through.
These attacks feel extra brutal on Polar Halfpipe so far, but Wave, he is holding on to a double shield, so I know that he wants to be in the front, bully Dalda out of position, and start absorbing more of the aggro.
Yeah, he wants that aggro to come his way, and he wants to deflect it with a shield to allow his teammates to get better positions in the middle of the pack. And as we can move into lap number 3, we can kind of take inventory of the item list here, and a little bit more muddy than usual, I gotta say. I mean, look at all the nitros, look at all the magnets on the field right now for all of these racers. There's a lot of speed options here as we're getting closer and closer to that finish line.
And now if you look at Wave, he doesn't have a way to get on top there. Ooh. So now it's Summer who's going to be the only player from Potential to get up on the halfpipe.
Yeah, he does have a magnet, which isn't really useful if you're leading the pack, so hopefully he'll be able to pick up a nitrous or something to that effect there behind him as the meter, 500 meters away is the finish line. Hyunsu doesn't actually have any inventory. Oh, he picks up a Water Wisp attack now coming in on Summer. No Angel Shield has popped Hyunsu. He spins out. Actually, Taemin on the right side by a fraction of a second is able to snatch victory from the jaws of Hyunsu. As PO goes up 2-1 here in item mode, I thought for sure that Hyunsu, after that Water Wisp attack, was going to be able to take the victory, but no, it is Taemin on the outer line. Fantastic play from Team Potential.
Hyunsu himself, he did get targeted by the missile right as he was attempting to go over the finish line. And you can tell that the main meta right now, potentially for Season 2, is a lot of the players throwing all of their offensive options, especially at the players that are trying to go over the finish line. We've seen it happen many times where someone was leading the pack, but they got targeted by an item, and all of a sudden someone comes out from left field, and it's over. And I really love that meta right now. The item aces that are able to shot call well around this, I feel like they're going to really shine so far in Season 2.
Yeah, it feels a lot more complicated. There's a lot more attacks coming in critical moments, and we'll see how these teams are going to play around that strategy here as we move on to round number 4, Village Clock Tower Crossing.
It's Potential leading right now in item mode against Liiv SANDBOX. If they win this one, they will be able to take us to an ace match.
Yeah, only one track went away from forcing the 3rd ace match of the day, and what a treat that would be if we're able to get it. And Theo, I gotta say, man, they've been playing so well, specifically here in item mode against Liiv SANDBOX. It's been fantastic watching them come through with these clutch attacks. Such a Taemin there on the outside, just by a hair, bringing them the match point.
And this is where the strategy from Neil really shines, because Clock Tower Crossing is a track where it really matters to be ahead, which is pretty unusual for an item track. As we see now, Taemin, he's getting some of that momentum back.
Whoa, that was a
look at that.
Massive water bomb.
That's the perfect usage of water bomb there on Clock Tower Crossing, because nobody can really dodge it in that tiny little space.
Yeah, it's too narrow. Oftentimes you'll see racers, as they are right now, just hugging those outer lines, because it means that if a water bomb does come in on top of you, you know, it hits the middle of the track. You're going to be able to dodge it. As Taemin actually with a shield, able to block that attack from Neil. Doesn't block that Water Wisp though. Able to block that missile. Man, a lot of attacks here on Taemin and a lot of shield pops coming through too.
Taemin sacrificed his line to pick up 2 item boxes. Now it's Neil who got shot back. Now it's Taemin with the shields back and forth, but he gets targeted by the missile.
Taemin eventually does get taken out, but I gotta say, he had like 3 or 4 shields there. Back to back to back, that was crazy. Now we're entering lap number 3. 2 seconds away is Jimin from first place. Wave a little bit more behind him, but another water balloon attack comes in. And look at the mini-map right now. Jimin is so far ahead. Dalda's gonna try and do some body blocking, but Summer with a bit too much speed.
Summer, he doesn't have any items right now to target Jimin, and he gets set back. Now you can see Dalda trying to play the rear for Jimin. Wave, he doesn't have a way to catch up to Jimin because Jimin had a shield there.
Yeah, Jimin's lead has diminished quite a bit though, as he just keeps getting attacked and attacked and attacked, and now it's actually Taemin coming in once again, is going to try and come this out, but no, missile spins him out. Jimin also gets spinned out by a missile, and Wave now coming through in the finish is going to secure the 3rd ace match of the day. Potential wins 3-1 over Liiv SANDBOX here in item mode, as we're getting maximum Kart Rider drift here on the first Wednesday of KDL Preseason 2.
And you saw the excitement in Banana there. He was shouting something in Korean that could probably be translated to "Let's go potential!" Because this is the 2nd time now that Banana was able to come in as the item ace and secure his team potential the set win in item mode. And now you have to wonder, does potential have what it takes for them to potentially go against Neil in ace match, who looked absolutely phenomenal against Hojun in that ace match versus Sensation?
Yeah, that was one of the best ace matches that I've seen in a very long time. If you guys missed it in that previous weekend, go back and see Neil take on the Emperor. It was a nail biter. And you got to think that, especially, you know, with Youngsu out here for Liiv SANDBOX, it's got to be Neil in the ace match here for LSB. And no potential. They do have a lot of skill, but so far they have been really struggling in speed mode, especially today. And so the question is, who do you really throw out here as potential to try to stop Liiv SANDBOX? I mean, do you go to the young kid? Do you go to Summer once again?
Well, I do think it's worth giving another chance to Summer, because you gotta remember that his opponent was World, who's undefeated right now in the ace matches. So it's not really fair to just give him only one chance to be like, okay, you lost, you're not gonna play ace match anymore. I feel like at least one more chance definitely could be given here.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, I mean, as good as that player is, Neil is also one of the best in the business, right? I mean, these are 2 juggernauts. They're some of the fastest players on their teams, and their teams are the best in the world. 1st and 2nd place in the previous season.
Rock, paper, scissors.
We're actually
What's
doing
that about?
Rock, paper, scissors? Okay. I'm down with it. May the luckier player win, right? You want to have luck on the field.
But they could be baiting us as well. You never know, because that would be an extremely surprising way to pick your ace match player, especially when you have a player like Neil at top of his form right now.
I think it was Sensation in KDL Preseason 1 that at least once was deciding, I think it might have even been twice, decided their ace match player by rock, paper, scissors. So I wouldn't be surprised if Liiv SANDBOX was just, you know, showing that confidence, like, we'll leave it to chance. We'll let fate decide who our gamer is going to be. As the submissions are coming in, we'll eventually see who these players are going to be. And I do wonder if that really was a rock, paper, scissors match there, an authentic one to decide the racer here for LSB, because I feel like it's got to be Neil, man. He is so good. And let's see the track.
It is Mine Winding Slopes. We've had a lot of ace matches on this track in Preseason 1, and one thing for sure was that if you lose momentum on the turns, it's pretty much over for you, because it's really hard to catch up given how many obstacles are in your path in forms of sharp corners in this track.
It's a very difficult, very technical track with a lot of sharp corners, as you said, and it could be one of the most punishing tracks ever. And yeah, it is going to be Neil versus Summer here and the ace match. So Neil, whether it was the rock, paper, scissors, or they just chose him and they put him on for show, it still will be the global player here in KDL Preseason 2 going off against the young player Summer, who was defeated by the KWANGDONGFREECS in an ace match last weekend, looking for redemption now against Liiv SANDBOX.
I'm surprised by Neil's showmanship here. He usually shows his little, pet puppy doll, but this time he showed a bag of chips. So hopefully those bag of chips are able to give Neil the energy he needs to take down Summer in this ace match here, being held in Mine Winding Slopes.
And here we go on Mind Winding Slopes. Summer versus Neil, winner takes all in the third ace match of the night.
Whoa.
And I gotta say, Neil is off to such an incredible start. Look at that speed.
He's like Pikachu, just speeding away Summer, not anywhere close to a draft range at this point. And on top of that, Neil does have a boost gauge advantage.
Yeah, Neil just absolutely killing it right now. Summer's gonna have to play catch up as best he possibly can, and that can be risky here on this map, as if Summer tries to take some greedy, tighter lines like he just does! It could be devastating! Summer, he knew that he had to take a risk to try to close the distance there on Neil, but the problem is, on this map, those risks are so dangerous. You could fall off the track, you could hit a wall, as Summer just did. He fell off, and now Neil, all he has to do is play his game, play his build, play safe, because Summer is so far behind him right now. You can't even see Neil on the minimap.
In preseason one, it was Neil who made a crucial mistake in Mind Winding Slopes, but this time, he is so far away from his opponent that there's no way you're going to see any form of mistakes coming out of Neil. In fact, he's just going to style it there with the 360 spin.
Yeah, Neil with a little bit of flavor right now. Finish line 400 meters away, as one mistake spells doom here for Team Potential, and Neil with the most one-sided ace match we've seen here in the KDL preseason. Tremendous stuff from him, fantastic play. Summer, he took the risk to try to close the distance. It did not pay off. And man, just superb stuff from Liiv SANDBOX. And I gotta say, so far today, you know, we had 3 rookie teams come against 2 pro teams and a very well-established team in Aura. And, you know, the veteran teams, they won every time, but every single time it went down to an ace match, it was an incredible show.
That's exactly why we're saying these rookie teams are coming in with the rookie revolution, basically, making it so that preseason 2 is more competitive than ever. In this ace match, it did feel one-sided, but for a lot of the matches that it took to get to the ace matches, even our more veteran players and the teams had to really work hard.
Yeah, just tremendous stuff here so far today. And Neil, especially here for Liiv SANDBOX, really stepped up with her speed ace out due to illness. I mean, Neil just in speed mode absolutely killed it, did his best in item mode too, which is absolutely not his forte. And then an ace match put on a clinic, just played his own build, and just fantastic stuff here from Liiv SANDBOX, man. They continue to impress even with this new roster.
Yep, you couldn't feel the absence of Byung-Soo at all because Liiv SANDBOX took speed 3-0, but then it was the item mode where once again they did show a surprising weakness, being taken down 1-3 by Potential, and it was ace match where Neil continues to impress us all. I think that the ceiling of this player hasn't been revealed yet, and Neil can go only higher and higher from here.
Man, Neil going higher is a scary prospect considering how good he is already. I mean, roller-roaded globally, roller-roaded his first KL in Korea, now here in KDL showing no signs of slowing down. This guy just continues to get better, and I'm so happy to be back here at the KDL preseason. It was a long break, didn't get to cast opening weekend, but I feel like this season's going to be even better than the last one, man. The quality of games that we saw here today has been so good. These rookie teams are really showing a lot of skill, a lot of talent, a lot of fight. Fun stuff, man. Fun stuff.
Yeah, we're having a lot of stories built, especially through ace matches. I feel like in preseason 1, Neil didn't really have a stellar performance as far as ace matches went because he made a lot of the crucial mistakes that ultimately cost his team the match. But so far, he's undefeated in preseason 2. And not only that, he's looking absolutely dominant. So seeing a matchup like Neil versus World in ace match would be great. And also, I'm sure a lot of the fans want to start seeing Jung play the ace matches too.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jung play an ace match in a minute, man.
Yeah,
It's
that's
been
how
a
good
while.
Rox is.
Yeah, Rox is, they just keep getting better. We gotta get them losing in item mode again so we get more ace matches from Rox. But I'm sure we're gonna get some of those big headliner ace matches eventually here in the KDL preseason 2. It is so good to be back in the action. Thank you guys for being with us. We hope you enjoyed the show so far today. Remember, get the word out on social media. We're gonna be back again this weekend. It's been so much fun, man. I'm really having a blast.
Yeah, and this was a Wednesday, meaning we've had only 3 team matches, but when we get to the weekend, we have some of the solo matches coming out as well, which is really exciting because speaking of Jung going to highlight him more as a player, this is going to be his debut right now in the solo match as far as KDL goes. And you have to wonder, How far is he going to push it? Is he just going to get first place 5 times in a row and have a perfect finish? You never know.
It's possible. I mean, the skill that he showed in solo speed in KDL Preseason 1 was just out of this world, and I was really missing having him in the solo matches. So having him in solo match here in KDL Preseason 2, it's going to be a really big treat.
That's Group D for you. You want to keep your eye out if you want to see Jung perform in an ace match. But of course, Group C is going to be the first match to play. And honestly, looking at Group A and B, how the results went, a lot of the players with the already backed up history as far as the career goes, they were the ones to make it out, and you have to wonder, can the rookies finally pull something new in C&D?
Yeah, let's take a look at the match results from today and really wrap this thing up. As we had some fantastic shows. KWANGDONGFREECS against Seraphic. I mean, Seraphic, they did not have a very good start on the opening weekend, but able to force the ace match here against the KWANGDONGFREECS, and kind of what ended up being the story here so far today for all of these rookie teams, winning 3-1 in item mode. Barely, I think it was like a 10th or 20th of a second, losing in the ace match there against the Freaks. It was a nail biter, but a fantastic show for Seraphic. I feel like that's the kind of match that you need to get on the board, get some set wins, get some map wins, start building some confidence to carry yourself through the rest of the season.
I love that you said confidence. That has to be the key word for Seraphic here. They didn't take a win home, but I'm sure they did take that confidence. And of course, the fans are going to be more excited now because this team, they have showed that they are not going to go down 6-0 every time. Against the likes of KWANGDONGFREECS, they're able to win items. So I'm really happy about that one. But of course, ShowTime, once again, it feels like there's a trend here. Our veteran teams are great at speed, but item is where they falter.
Yeah, I think that was the case every single time today, and kind of surprising too because Aura historically has been so good at item mode, especially with a Noctec duo. I mean, going back to the Freaks a couple of years ago, they were previously on that team, and they were even back then famous for their skill in item mode. But ShowTime able to come through with an upset there in item, losing 0-3 in speed, 3-2, winning 3-2 in item, forcing that ace match in another nail biter. I gotta say this one just as close to the Freaks show or the Freaks ace match against Seraphic, as really the rookie team showed up today. They did not get that upset, but so much fun.
Yeah, Looning had his debut here in ace match in KDL Preseason 2, and he's starting off with a 1-0, so I'm excited to see Looning get some more ace matches under his belt, and if he starts racking up results like 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, then, we need to match him up with the likes of all the other ace match players we keep mentioning.
Yeah, I love all these players really trying to build a reputation here in ace matches. It's so much fun to watch, and Wolf is going to be very happy watching this one, knowing that Looning came through with an ace match win. As we look at the final match of the day, main stage match number 7, Liiv SANDBOX. Again, continuing the trend that you pointed out, 3-0 in speed, but losing 3-1 in item mode to Potential, who had some very clutch plays, led by their item ace, Banana. And then moving on to the ace match, Potential, just a little bit of a mistake there by Summer, who was playing a little bit greedy with his build, trying to close the distance on Neil, who was off to an unbelievable start. But that one mistake, we were talking about it leading into the ace match. You make a mistake on a map like that one, it's often doom, right?
Yep. At the end of the day, I think Liiv SANDBOX is going to be pretty happy about this win. Although they still look shaky in item mode, they didn't really seem phased by losing Byung-Soo at all in speed, and I think that has to spell volumes for them as a team. Being able to overcome such a large hurdle like this is absolutely what every team needs to be able to do if they want to make it to playoffs in such a competitive environment.
Yeah, I mean, the depth of this roster is so good, and that's after losing Seunghan Insu, right? So It's just really tremendous stuff there from Liiv SANDBOX as we get a look at the standings. Aura, KWANGDONGFREECS, Liiv SANDBOX, and the Seongnam Rocks. Top 4 teams right now, finishing up 3 days of KDL Preseason 2, and Aura notably with a +9 round score overall. Just really tremendous.
Yeah, Aura looking to be the most likely team to move on to playoffs right now, but that's why we have these round robins here to make sure the teams constantly face off against each other, and we check through all the volatilities to truly get a feel for who the best team is. And it's a question right now for the Aura fans. They're at the highest of the highs. Will they be able to stay on Cloud 9, or will it be some more traditional teams like KWANGDONGFREECS, Liiv SANDBOX bringing momentum back that they showed in Preseason 1? And lastly, we can't forget the likes of Seongnam Rocks and Sensation. They're kind of like a mystery box as to where they'll go.
Yeah, and I could see potential. Who's going to be playing on Saturday against Sungnam Rocks is another one of those teams that might make playoffs, right? They just played against the winner and the runner-up from KDL Preseason 1, so their schedule's only going to get easier. Make sure you tune in at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And yeah, it's going to be fantastic, man. Sungnam Rocks versus Potential, ShowTime versus Sensation, and then solo matches because it will be a weekend. Skull, Ding, Sungbin, FaZe, Navi, Load, Joker, and Hyunsu.
Yep, seems like Hyunsu and Ding are the biggest standouts to me by far, and there's a lot of rookies in this lineup compared to other groups, so I want to see which rookie will stand tall and be able to match up with the likes of Hyunsu and Ding.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the FREECS Sungbin also ran away with this one here in Group C. I could easily see him winning in first place.
Yeah, I missed him there, actually.
Yeah, I thought you did. Yeah, Sungbin, he's really good to actually be wearing the red stripes there for that one, so it should be a lot of fun there in Group C. It will be a very competitive match, and then I think that means Sunday on Group D, that's when we have Jung playing, right?
Yep, that's Group D for you guys, and honestly, I'm excited that we've had such a intense back and forth in the team matches to kick off for Wednesday of KDL Preseason 2. And honestly, what are your predictions for Group C? Let's pick one first place right now, State.
Sungbin for me. I'm going to go with Sungbin.
Sungbin?
Yeah.
All right, well, I am on the side of Hyunsu on this one because I feel like Hyunsu has been such a key player for Liiv SANDBOX.
I'm sure it's going to be very close. Guys, that match is going to kick off 6 p.m. on Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you this weekend.